This episode of the podcast was once again streamed live on YouTube, on Jujitsu's YouTube channel, and it was a great time. I had 3 black belts joining me, and it was Nick Chewy Albin, Chad the Beast Hardy, who's getting ready for the no-gi pans, and also Mr. Jiu-Jitsu himself, Mike Mihas. And Mike has been kind of traveling and training at our gym and wanted to sit down. I wanted to sit down with him and kind of get to know a little bit more about his jiu-jitsu journey, and he's been training for 20 plus years, a black belt, trained with a lot of people, started just really early on, and it's really fun to hear his perspective and his opinion on jiu-jitsu and a lot of other stuff. I hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. Make sure to subscribe on iTunes.
You are now listening to the Jiu-Jitsu Therapist Podcast.
I just figure a Matt Savage is, to me, it's someone that's just training every day. It's someone that doesn't do it full time. Or they could do it full time. It's just someone that's willing to train every day, no matter what their injuries are, no matter if they work a full time job, part time if they're a student. I think anybody could be a Matt Savage. Just someone that's willing to put the work in.
Kind of like a weekend warrior.
Basically.
We are live.
No, not yet.
Damn it!
We are
Live.
Does it matter what the thumbnail looks like?
Nah,
What's thumbnail?
I'm gonna make sure I post it.
that's this.
I understand that.
Oh, did I already take the thumbnail?
No
I would've made it cooler.
liabilities.
Are we live?
I don't know yet.
I'm about to go live too.
I'm going
Since
live.
we're all going live.
Give your video a new look. Use the tool
We're all
set.
live, bro.
Hold on. How many people do I have watching me? 0. I don't know how to tell how many I have.
Oh, just popped up. Eugene is live now.
No liabilities. You can hear me over there.
I gotta put my phone.
You might turn that down.
Okay. Copy link.
No,
It's not.
it's from your computer, dude.
What? You can hear me on my computer?
Or was it Mike's?
That was me. I put
that
it.
was
It was my fault.
There.
Ah, see? No
Podcast Mulligan.
See? Who's watching? Thomas Banta and Brian. What's up?
I'm going live too.
Are we live?
Video sideways.
Okay.
Are we live?
Bro, we're live.
I don't know what it's doing.
Mr. JD.
I need help.
Joshua Lynn. What's up, Josh?
That guy.
It's saying that.
Put on a mask to give yourself a fun look. No liabilities.
Hashtag no liabilities.
Are we live too?
We're about to go live. We're going live.
What's up? Mr. Jiu-Jitsu.
What's up, people?
Chad the Beast Hardy. The YouTube sensation. Formerly known as...
Jujitsu.
Look how angry he is.
Hey, did you all...
He did look angry there.
So this guy comes in, and it's Dixie Highway, so all kinds of people come in. So this guy
talking
comes
about
in,
this dude with
and
karate?
he's trying to sell me. He's trying to sell me his comic books. And first off, these comic books, he's like, these are $300, limited edition. I'm like, all right, that's awesome and everything. So he comes in here and he's talking about how he knows ninjutsu and all this kind of stuff. And I was like, oh yeah, bro, have you ever heard of Chewjitsu? He's like, yeah, I've heard of it, but I don't use it. I was like, yeah, I wouldn't use that bullshit either.
I don't use it. That's awesome.
He was like, yeah, I've heard of it, but I would never use it. And I was like, yeah, me either.
Chewy, what are you doing?
I think jiu-jitsu could be its own art, though. So, make
Yeah.
everyone take that on the road, and I think jiu-jitsu could become its own art.
Chewy, how would
I
you
think so,
brand
too.
Jiu-Jitsu as your own martial art?
Make a funny pose or something.
Funny pose?
That works.
Funny posing.
You got to be in it though.
It doesn't matter what you get
Sorry.
Get this party rolling.
Yeah.
I think his beers are starting
All
to
these
affect
YouTube
me.
Hey guys,
celebrities
this is
one
my
spot.
most watched video yet.
JJ.
It's because my first one.
What's that?
It just shut off.
I did Facebook Live for the first time like 2 days ago.
The app closed.
Oh, did it?
Oh, we're
Ross
having
said
technical
I wouldn't
difficulties.
use
Hang on,
Jiu-Jitsu
everybody.
either.
What do you say?
He said I wouldn't use that Jiu-Jitsu stuff.
Yeah, well, you better.
Because that.
That was the funniest thing ever. When that dude came in and I was like, hey bro, have you ever heard of Jiu-Jitsu? He's like, yeah, I've heard of it,
Oh,
but
the comic book.
he's
guy?
like, I'd never use that.
I think I have
was
one
like,
person
yeah.
watching.
I wouldn't use that
You get to
bullshit
go,
either.
Maddie.
It's London.
Okay.
Sorry, guys. All right,
Alright,
we
fair.
are on. Chad's got a lot of people, way more than I do.
It's me.
Are you good?
Yeah. They were showing me. Let's do the orientation thing again.
Yeah, I just had it going.
What's up, guys? Everybody online on the interwebs, welcome to the podcast. I have Chad the Beast Hardy, Mr. Jiu-Jitsu, Mike Mihas, Chewjitsu, who's still angry,
And the famous
Cheers, you got a really
Jujitsu
angry face today.
Therapist.
and then the
really
Jiu-Jitsu
angry face.
Therapist.
Damn it,
Therapist.
this thing worked fine last
I like it
Everybody.
though. No, I like it.
Hey, where can we find this
I like it
podcast?
when he's angry.
This podcast is going to be on Chewy's YouTube channel. It will also be on my webpage, JujitsuTherapist.com, and on iTunes, the Jiu-Jitsu Therapist Podcast.
Yeah, so we're gonna do a live podcast, and it's gonna be on Jujitsu's channel and Jujitsu Therapist channel. Jujitsu the Rapist.
Who did it? Who was that one? Hey, calm down. Learn how to read.
Calm down, bro.
What's your problem? It's good stuff.
Mr. JJ in the building.
Hola.
Mike, tell us what brings you to Louisville, Kentucky.
I'm actually working in the area. Actually, the first time I came here, when did I come here, Chad? Was it
You came here
2 years ago?
Yeah, about 2 years ago.
2 years ago, I stopped in here.
Damn, that was 2 years ago, wasn't
Yeah.
it?
What I do whenever I'm working in an area, I just Google the closest gym to me, and this is the first one that popped up. And as soon as I walked in, I knew right away. I saw Chad. I saw a young guy with a black belt, and I was like, "Yeah, this is the place to be at. This is the place to be at."
What made you think that it was kind of like what gave you the good vibe?
Well, here's the thing. I've been doing jiu-jitsu for almost 22 years, so I kind of just a couple minutes of watching people train and instructor talk, I know right away. I have like a jiu-jitsu Spider-Man instinct. I don't know if that makes sense. And I know right away. I just see an instructor say a couple things, do a couple things, students do a couple things. I know right away this is a legit place.
What kind of things do you?
Well, like if I saw him pull out nunchucks, I'd be like, maybe you picked the wrong place. You know what I mean? But he was, I don't remember what we taught that day, but just like if I just see solid fundamentals of jiu-jitsu, I know right away, okay, you didn't waste your time driving.
What gives
20,
you?
30 minutes.
Is there anything gives you like a weird vibe if you walk into the gym?
Yeah, there's sometimes I don't want to, because I visit a lot of gyms. If there's an instructor right away, if I walk in and right away he has an excuse not to roll, I think something's up. I think right away something's up. I'm like, we're not even rolling yet, and right away he's telling me about his injuries, why he can't roll, and why he can't do this. I'm like, I'm just here to train. I'll roll with anybody.
Do you see that like more ego? I mean, is that more ego? thing?
Honestly, I believe it's ego, and I believe that they just don't want to seem looking bad in front of their student. Little do they know that I'm a 44-year-old that is not really that good at jiu-jitsu to begin with. But you just walk in, and they just right away they're giving the excuses why they don't want to roll, and I'm like, oh, come on.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Or if you've ever been in a situation where after you roll with them, they're like, "Oh yeah, man, like this is going on, this is hurt, this is messed up." And you're like, "Dude, we're just rolling it. It's not."
And the way I roll at a snail's pace. I'm pretty slow with my rolling, so I don't even try to. Especially the first time I roll with someone, I don't they're gonna crush me or not. I don't try to tap into one. I try just to flow roll, no matter how hard the other person's going. I just think it's a respectful thing to do when you walk into someone's gym.
Now that's a good thing. Like when you because obviously I know you were younger at one point, and when you were younger, you probably like. Did you? I mean, you probably used to turn up the burners at times, right?
Yes. Well,
yeah. Now, what I was going to say is because, like, when you would get into those gears, like when you went to a gym, would you still kind of like, all right, I'm going to roll with the guy and kind of let them set the pace, and I'll follow that pace? You know what I mean? Because for me, that's what I do. Even like right now, like when I go to a gym, I'll let them sort of tell me like by rolling how fast are we going to go, right? I'm not going to go at my normal speed. I'll you kind of dictate. Are we going to go hard? Are we going to go light? What are we going to do here?
And that's what I was talking about. That jiu-jitsu Spider-Man instinct, that takes a couple years to develop.
Sure.
Like, if I roll with someone, I know right away what kind of roll it's going to be within, like, the first minute. It's just from rolling all these years, you just pick up, and that's that jiu-jitsu sense, that spidey sense that you pick up that you're just talking about.
Yeah, well, even like you and I, when we first started rolling, it was like, okay, like, you're a guest in the gym, and so, you're here, and I want to make you feel welcome, so I'm like, okay, how's he moving? And I'm like, all right, I'm moving at that pace then, and that's where we're going to move, you know what I mean? Like,
And that's just years of experience. That's not something you can really develop right away. You just have to put the time in to develop that sense. That's that's a veteran sense right there, and that just shows you what kind of gym it is. That just shows you what kind of you'll know right away. It's amazing. If you train for a while, you walk in the gym and just the way people act, the way the students act, the way the teachers roll, by the way they talk, by the way they act. It's
the atmosphere.
It's the atmosphere. It gives
Do you
away
still
everything.
do you get nerves ever? Still like walking to a new gym that you've never been before?
I do, and I also like it because it helps me. Because I used to be real nervous before competitions, and I feel one of the best ways to not get nervous is to walk into a strange gym and just start training. Because one thing is, people are going to turn it up if you're a new person in the gym. It's just how people are. People are just like, I'm not going to lose to this new guy. Especially, I walk in with a black belt. They're like, hey, let's put this notch on the bedpost. Let's tap this black belt out. So I know they're going to come after me, which I like it. I feel like I feel like that struggle is growth for me. For me personally, some people they don't want to cross train. They don't walk to other gyms, but I feel like it helps me. I like that nervousness. I like walking in knowing that people are not going to care about my age. They're not going to care about my injuries. They're not going to give a shit. They're going to try to destroy me because they want to say, hey, I tapped out this black belt that walked in our gym.
Right.
And so.
Yeah, I mean,
and I like that challenge. I like that challenge.
I've had the same thing happen to me before, like big name gyms. Again, you don't want to name names, but you walk in and then like nobody's talking to me, and you walk in and like some black belt from Kentucky, and a lot of times people's association with Kentucky is like a backwoods, whatever.
Bunch of rednecks.
And like man, I remember like going to this one particular gym where my first roll with the guy, young kid, young brown belt, we slap hands. And I mean, it was like, boom. It was like competition roll from the get-go. And my girlfriend that was sitting over in the corner with me because we were on vacation, she goes, is he mad at you? I was like, I think he's just rolling hard. Then I roll with the next guy. It was the same way. You know what I mean? I was like, then it was, you could, and it wasn't just like a hard roll, but it was also like, you get that vibe from it. Like, it's like, I'm trying to take this guy's head off because he's some outsider. Like I said, it kind of put a knife.
Well, especially in your case, someone could recognize you from
this
YouTube videos.
This was before. This is before anybody knew who the hell I was.
But now your target is even bigger because people are like, I want to try to tap.
I want to tap out the guy who won't shut the hell up.
I think like, yeah, you have a bigger name, but I think people want to see if you're actually legit.
Sure.
I think people want to see is like, well, is he just talking on YouTube,
or is he
really legit?
Yeah.
And like, you are always rolling. I mean, you're always in the trenches with us, and I think he's fucking legit. I'll tell you that.
Yes, he is.
It's my ass. Yeah, it's Mike, I wanted to ask you what kind of we've heard Chad's and Chewy's stories. So what got you into jiu-jitsu?
You guys ever heard of Blockbuster Video? Are you guys too young?
Yeah,
all right,
yeah.
so I'll make sure I'm the oldest guy.
There was old holdout there about 2 years
Yeah.
ago. It was the last one.
It was the last one. I was hanging on to that last VHS.
I used to go there every weekend.
That was awesome.
I think that at one point they switched to DVDs, and then it was like, okay, we're not going to make it.
But do you remember the days when you would rent video games?
Oh, God, yeah.
And rent like movies, and you would take them, and then like, oh my gosh, like
So much
And then you get nervous, you don't rewind it, and the lady's checking out your thing. Did I rewind the tape? And they charge an extra $2 to rewind it. Yeah.
I remember.
I forgot.
Okay, maybe I'm that old. I don't know if it's.
I was a kid, man. I rented a video game, and I forgot to like take it back. And I told my grandpa, and I just freaked out. I was like, yeah, I took it back. And like later on, they called him like 2 months later, and they're like, hey man, yeah, you owe us like $100 for this damn game that was never returned.
Oh man,
It's crazy.
But yeah, I walked into a couple of my buddies. We walked into a Blockbuster. I'm pretty sure we were high at the time. And I saw UFC. This was 1996, and I saw UFC 4 on the shelf. And I was like, let's rent this. And I remember, I think I saw it on the news. I think I saw it on the news once. And I was like, they've been talking about this on the news lately, like human cockfight. So we put it on. And it was, and right away, I was just like, everybody was talking. I was just like, how is this little guy in the gi doing this? I'm like, what is, like my mind, that moment, it was just like when, like in the Matrix, when the blue and the red pill.
yeah.
I took that pill and I was just like, oh my gosh, what like, and I was 23, 24. I never really been in a real fight at that time. I'd never been in anything. So I was like, let's go back to the store. And they're like, are you serious? I go, let's go rent the others. So I rented 1, 2, and 3. I saw the first one with Horace Gracie. Just walked through everyone. I think just the third one he had
With chemo.
where he couldn't recover, where he was pulling on his ponytail and that. But it was just, and I was just like, and then I was like, I'm gonna take these home with me. And they're like, make sure you return them. And I just kept watching them every day. So I grabbed my buddy. I was like, I want to practice some of this stuff. He was like, you serious? We didn't know what we were doing.
Sure.
Well, regardless, 2 weeks later, I see a sign for a fight in a no-holds-barred fight in Cleveland, Ohio. It was the first ever no-holds-barred fight in Cleveland, Ohio. So 3 weeks after watching that, I walked into the cage and fought.
So you had no martial arts?
No, I actually have pictures of me training on my mom's deck with my sister's ballet mats.
Yeah.
We're using the wooding of the deck like to mimic the cage.
How'd that go?
That I got armbarred in 40 seconds.
Okay.
By a little Brazilian guy. I don't remember his name.
Thank God that's all that happened.
Yeah, it was quick. It was quick that. And right after that, I was like, I got to learn what happened. I have to understand. I was just, instead of getting frustrated, I was like, I got to know what happened. I got to know, because I picked the guy up, I dumped him, and just right away armbarred him. And I was just like, I got to know what is this.
Yeah.
So I started going to the Gracie Academy in Cleveland, Ohio,
Uh-huh.
in 1996. It was it's the second ever Gracie Academy in America, I believe. That Hoist was running. He had one in
Oh, so Hoist ran.
yeah, Hoist was running this one. He had one in California, and Craig Kramer was the instructor. He was the running one. He was a blue belt at the time. And back then, when we would train, it was kill or be killed on the mat.
Sure.
There was no people were coming in doing challenge matches. It was just everything was the challenge back then. There was no roles.
Yeah.
Karate guys were coming in. Let me try this. Kung Fu guys were coming. Let me try this. Bodybuilders coming. Let me try this. Tough guys were coming in. It was. Which is why some people don't understand my post. I came up very hard in jiu-jitsu. All the 90s was me getting my ass kicked. So I never had that like, take it slowly,
Right.
do this and that. Mine was like ass beat, and then more ass beating. It was just
And if you stick around with it, maybe something will happen for you.
maybe.
Yeah.
And so it was just years of ass beatings for me. And I actually only went to that academy for about 5 months, and then I stopped. And I was always like, I just want to fight MMA. So I got with a few of my buddies back home. A couple of guys were ex-wrestlers. We got together. We started sparring. We were sparring with no gloves on. And then I fought the next year after that. I lost again. And then I started fighting more often. I went to Iowa, fought a few times. And then I started getting more confident. Then I started winning a couple fights. And that was so all the 90s. I fought about 9 times. I think my record was like 4 and 5. It wasn't a good record. But we would fight a couple times one night.
Yeah.
So I'd win like 2 matches, then I'd lose in the finals.
Yeah.
I'd win one. So you had to fight like 3 or 4 times in the night. So and then I actually went over to overseas, and I fought a couple pancreas matches too.
Nice.
And which were those were open hand hits, so it
Right.
wasn't that hard on the body. So it was. And then after that, in '99, I won the Midwest No Holds Bar Championship, and I was supposed to fight Sean Shirk. I don't know if he used to fight. We were supposed to fight and unite our belts, and I was overseas partying, and I never showed up for that match. So it's. I'm pretty sure if I would have showed up, he would have destroyed me regardless, because he was a gorilla at the time. But me and Sean Shirk, he won the No Holds Bar for the West Coast, and I won the Midwest one. And we were supposed to unite the belts and fight. So I was supposed to.
Do you think back then they were trying to like weed people out, like Americans? Like, were they trying to just like? Do you feel like they were just accepting everybody, or
No, they weren't. I'll come out in a minute. I hate calling grappling fighting, but I did. My first grappling tournament was the Arnold's in Columbus, Ohio.
What year was that?
In 1998.
Okay.
In 1998, and actually a lot of big names were actually on that.
That was like the biggest. I mean, because even like when I started jiu-jitsu up until about 2005, that was like the biggest tournament this side of the Mississippi, because there was like when I was coming up, there was like $3,000, and you would see guys like Marcelo Garcia,
they were all there.
Shanji, Salo. I mean, it was like watching the ADCC. But like, just in Ohio somewhere, it was intense.
Actually, Sanji competed against his student Lovato in that. No, his brother. I'm sorry. Salo competed against Lovato in that tournament in Columbus.
Okay.
You can see it. There's a video online. You could see them competing, and he actually, I think he chokes out Lovato, and they must have linked up after that and became his top student. But a lot of people follow that. That's the Dustin Deans. He competed in that. He choked out Munson. There was a lot of big matches.
Pedapano,
Munson in there, and Munson.
I was there for that.
You were there? Oh, I was there. So Munson took off all his clothes. He's stripped naked. I'm not sure why.
So
I guess
if people don't know what happened, like, because there was a huge like brawl kind of.
He had him in a can opener, and Helson said no can openers were allowed,
except for he said if you want to open the guard. And so that was where like, because they were coming up to him afterwards, like all the Americans were like, they had like a camera. Because this, it's so funny. Like now, like people bitch about reaping the leg and all this stuff, but back in the old days, it was the can opener. That's what everybody was freaked out about, the damn can opener. Like that was the big taboo thing. But in the rules, if the way that I remember, because obviously our memories are a bit skewed, Helson had said you cannot can opener to submit. You can can opener to open the guard.
So if people don't know what can opener is, explain that.
Can opener is where you basically grab the person by their neck and you pull them in tight to your chest. Yeah, so basically you're inside full guard, and you're basically curling the back of their neck, and you're curling their head, their forehead to your chest, and basically it's a neck crank. And all the wrestlers used to do it back in the day. So
nobody cool does that, by the way.
What's that?
Said nobody cool.
Nobody cool does it. That was the first submission I ever did in Jiu-Jitsu when I first rolled. All the wrestlers did it back in the day, and so he put him in the can opener. Now the way that that we understood the rules, because I remember paying attention to that, was if you get put in a can opener and your guard opens, you're supposed to let go. But basically you're not supposed to. Basically they were like, you're supposed to open your guard up, right? Like, so if you get can opener, you're supposed to open your guard or something like that. Like, basically what you weren't supposed to submit. So he was using the can opener to open the guard, and he didn't open his guard, and he screamed, and then they stopped the match. And then basically he got mad because there was a rule. There was again, the rules were a bit funky. And then after that, like, all the Americans are trying to show Helson, show him what he said. But again, like, there was some like loss of translation amongst the rules. And then again, Jeff got upset, and he freaking.
It was an all-out brawl. Seneca trying to fight. Seneca tried to fight. Was trying to fight Montes. Yeah, it was crazy. It was
Seneca's crazy, man.
It was
he's awesome.
Anybody.
Seneca's wild, man. But and then there was just, it was a brawl. I mean, you can see some. You can see it on the internet. I think they still.
Yeah, it's still
video.
on there.
Yeah. But
I saw like Seneca getting some fight on the beach or something. It was like a really old video or something like that.
Yeah.
I know there's a Hickson, one of Hickson fighting on the beach.
yeah,
I know there's
He
one
was
fighting Hugo Duarte.
Hugo Duarte, yeah.
He was coaching me one time, and
Seneca was?
yeah, he was coaching me, and the referee like gave some bad call, and he started screaming at the referee. I'm like, this guy's not even my coach, but I mean, I've known Seneca.
Yeah.
He would always coach me because he knew me. I think I went against one of his guys one time in armbar him, and ever since that, he started coaching me at every tournament. So he'd be like screaming out, and like just screaming as loud as he can.
I rolled with him.
And I'm like looking over, like, who is this?
Yeah, I rolled with him a couple of years ago, and it was just me and him at his gym, and he just put a beating on me.
He recently had that match against Megaton.
Yeah, he won.
Yeah, he won. Yeah.
Was it? It was overseas.
The Abu Dhabi.
The Abu Dhabi Pro.
Abu Dhabi Pro for like Masters. It was something like that.
It was like a super fight that he had going on. Yeah.
Huh.
So he still got.
But what I was saying about about Americans back then being kind of cut out of jiu-jitsu. When I did that tournament, they put me against like some high-level black belt, and I just got annihilated right away. It was almost like I remember it was me and a couple other guys, and our division was just like us versus like. I think my buddy went against Walid Ismail. There were all these different people there, and we're just like, and we see these people with their cauliflower ears, and we're just like, we're about to get destroyed. We got destroyed. It wasn't even like.
It was a different world.
It was very lopsided. It was, but it's coming around. It's getting a little bit fairer. You might have to tan a little bit.
Depends on the tournament. Depends on the tournament.
You might have to hit the tanning booth a couple times and learn some Brazilian words.
You could be Brazilian. You could go for Brazilian.
Oh, I speak a little Portuguese, so I could sneak in and get a couple extra advantages and points.
Yeah. I've been to several tournaments where, like, again, it's like a Brazilian ref. Yeah. And there's a Brazilian guy I'm rolling with, and they're, like, laughing and, like, just having a hell of a time with each other. And I walk up, and they're like, who's this asshole? like who's the American guy? Like
the gringo. The
friggin' record stops. Like, oh, him. Yeah, come on.
Sounds like a peanut.
But I also do have a lot of Brazilian friends that train that are very open. They're very. I have a lot of tons of Brazilian guys I train with and talk to that are.
It's a different environment now. Like
Jiu-Jitsu's changed. It's not like it was like in the '90s when I trained.
How do you feel like it's changed?
I feel like it's changed. I feel like everyone's getting the playing field is a little more even now, especially with like social media. Like if you do a bad call now, it's going to be on Jiu-Jitsu Times. It's going to be everywhere. So it's almost. Like a bad call is going to be everywhere, and it's going to come down on you if you do something. That's why I kind of like social media. It almost keeps a couple things honest. It keeps people honest with some things.
I got DQ'd for going inverted one year at the Worlds. I was like, what?
I mean, it's like because you still see. I mean, gosh, I was watching like.
That's bullshit.
I got the video.
I mean, there's still plenty of bad calls. Like Sean got DQ'd he got called for stalling while he's passing a guy's guard. You're like, man, come on, dude. Like But it's like I don't know. I mean, like there's still like you go to some tournaments and there's terrible. Like the one thing I wish is that like tournaments would be harder on stalling, because like for me, like one of the things I noticed a lot of times, especially when I watch like and again it depends on the competitor. You get two guys that are ready to go for the kill, it's gonna be a fun match to watch. But like especially sometimes you get some point tournaments, and it's like this sometimes in submission only matches too. But like in point tournaments, okay, the guy will get up 2 points. And then they'll spend the rest of the time backing up to the very edge of the mat. So as soon as the person engages, boom, got to reset. Boom, got to reset. Boom, got to reset. It's like, man, they need to start just racking out the stalling. In wrestling, you start stepping backwards over and over again, you're immediately they start knocking the stalling points on. You keep doing it, boom, you're out. Like if you don't want to go, if you don't want to roll for the submission, then just leave. Like, what are you here to do? Like,
Well, that's what was nice about ADCC this week. This is probably the most stalling calls I've ever seen. Negatives I've seen.
they were
stalling.
giving-
I've never seen that many, and given to big names. So I was shocked at how I was like, well, they're really stepping up the stalling calls.
Who was the match? It was decided by the one who had less negatives. It was it JT Torres and I forgot who it was. Like, there was one match where I think there was like just no one had any points, but it was like just points. You just see like the
negative points.
Yeah, the negative points kept popping up. And I was like, what the hell's going on? Like, I don't. Yeah, because they had some weird. I guess like I'm not familiar with it. Maybe you are. Like, I guess like if you do certain things, like you get these like points or like advantages or negatives or something. I don't know.
Well, negatives. I think if you start taking a couple steps back, like the other guy's like he's trying to snap your neck, and you're just defending. I think like after a couple times, and that's start giving you the negatives. So if you keep retreating out, or if the guy's on your back and you walk him out of bounds. But it was weird because they would let them fight out of bounds too. So I was like, at what point do you?
Yeah.
There was
just when they got.
Yeah, there's a couple things I like about ADCC, and there's a couple things I don't like about the rules. There's some things I do like, and there's like you can't stall if he's going to go out of bounds. You're going to stall, and then you're going to let them fight on the third mat. So it's like it's.
What do you think about like? Because I'm kind of like I'm mixed on it. Like, what do you think about like the 5-minute no time, and then or like like basically because they have like a round of no time, and then the times like the actual point based round starts just middle of the match, and then they go, and you'll see like some guys that just again the competitor just doesn't matter who they are, they're going to go after it. But then you watch a lot of guys and they'll basically just wrestle on the feet and not really go for it, and then once that time starts, boom, then they like try to spring to action, to try to get the takedown or whatever. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, that's actually happened to me I did a super fight at ADCC a couple years back, and the first 5 minutes there were no points, and then after that I went against the legend of ADC, Ricardo Almeida, and he just racked up points on me like it was going out of style. It was just. I actually told him in the middle of the match, I go, "Can you stop scoring points on me?" Because he started laughing. I was like, "You're up like 1,000,000-0. How about you just chill out, buddy?" He laughed. It was. It's kind of cool. I think it opens up people a little bit, but then that last 5 minutes, it's going to be a whole different game. Like, so if I'm fully mounted on you, we're still at 0-0.
We're at 0-0.
Yeah,
Where
so
are you going to go?
It's like what's going to happen from there. It's like, especially if you did a hard takedown, you earned to get to that mount, and now it's 0-0. Now he's going to shrimp and get half guard, and then we're back to what I'm saying.
Yeah, I like kind of different rules. Is there a rule set? And I always like to ask this question: is there a rule set that you think is the best for jiu-jitsu? Is there one that you prefer, like Fight to Win or EBI or ADCC?
I know this is not popular. I like IBJJF rules. I like points. I think points open up more submissions. Just look at the Hodger against Buchecha. That was a points match, and look how exciting that was. And that was a points match. People were like, "Oh, it's going to be boring. It's going to end up 2-0." I think points make people fight a little bit harder. People are going to think a little different than that, but I think it makes people fight. No, I love Fight to Wins. I like those rule sets. I like the EBI rule sets. The only thing about the EBI rule sets, it's the overtime. I don't like gifted positions. Right. It's fun. It's fun. I like watching them. I enjoy them. I just don't like gifted positions. I don't feel like you starting my back, which is extremely hard to do in a real match, or you starting in the spider web. That's a hard earned position. I don't think you can just end up there and then now you're going to slip out of it, especially being sweaty. I don't know. I still like EBI. I just think that gifted positions I don't like. I wish they would just keep adding overtimes. Yeah. Do another 2 minutes. Do another 2 minutes. Start again another 2 minutes.
The thing that I like about say a Fight to Win is like that. It's like, great, here's your duration. It's a submission only. Here's your duration. Get it done in this time, and that's all you got. Like, that's it. Like, you're done. Like, because I think one of the big problems, like say Metamoris, was like there was never there was draws because people could just like not get submitted, and your stock doesn't go up, doesn't go down. It's just a clean slate, And then like you said, there has to be some sort of incentive, whether the points are manually put up there like with the board, or you basically know that there's some sort of judging criteria that they're going off of. Where at the end of this, there's going to be a winner and a loser. That there's that urgency. Where like again. I like the EBI as well. I think it always comes down to the competitor. Are they going to go for it? But with a lot of people, you watch the EBI matches sometimes, and like some guys will wait and just till the very, to that overtime round, and that's when they'll go. But that first 10 minutes, they just kind of like do just enough not to get caught, and then they'll come alive at the
And
end.
not to say people don't do that in IBJJF.
They do it everywhere.
Yeah, I'll stall in 50-50 and come up that last minute to get that advantage. So I guess it's whichever rule set you're going to play.
Right.
Maybe fight to win. Maybe has it the best right now because it's like,
I like it.
hey,
I
if you
like
keep
that.
going for submissions, you're probably going to win that match.
Right.
So that's
I think the inverse. I was talking to Joe Bays, and he wanted to win in regulation. Like his thing was, he knew that if he went into, I don't know if he was talking about a certain match, but like there was, there's certain positions that you train more, and some guys just train those overtime positions like really, really well, the spider web, or I guess having the back. But I think some people, it depends on the person. I think it depends on the athlete, the style of jiu-jitsu you play.
Like a good buddy of mine, or a person I've trained with before, and the person I really enjoy watching is a Hinger, Josh Hinger. It doesn't matter what points, submissional. It doesn't matter what place you put him in. He's going to go for this finish, and he doesn't have boring matches. He's going for the kill every time.
He just won a big tournament in Brazil, right?
Yeah,
just
the Burkett or whatever.
Yeah, I forgot what it's called, and that's a really hard one for an American.
Yeah,
That's
he won. He looked good doing it, but I mean that's a dude that he just goes for the kill. You'll see it at IBJJF. You see it doesn't matter.
He writes some nice articles too. Josh.
Yeah.
I've read a couple of articles online.
Right,
They're really
he's a
nice.
bright dude.
Yeah.
But even in Gordon Ryan's another dude. I mean, he's always going for the kill. I mean, it doesn't matter. Like when you watch his matches this weekend at the ADCC, he didn't even in that no point time. He wasn't going in there and playing it safe. He was immediately coming forward and trying to go for the kill.
If they had an MVP at ADCC, it was definitely Gordon Ryan. If they had
I
an
was
MVP
so impressed
trophy.
by him. Me and you were talking
He
about
looked good,
it.
man.
I was so impressed. He's 22. What's his?
That's insane.
What's his ceiling? 22, Chad?
Yeah, I'm 22 as well.
Let's go. Let's get it going. No, he's just
he's amazing, and he's great. I've spoken to a couple times. I got to roll with him before. I've got to roll with his brother too. They're both amazing.
What do you think they do really well? Is there anything in particular they do really well?
This is all they do, and it's amazing if this is all you do, how good you get at doing it. It's like anything. If you just do something all day long, like these guys. I went there. I was working up there, and I went and trained at Tonan's gym. And the next day, they went to Manhattan, and just to go to train at Donner's gym. You pay about $100 a day in tolls. That's insane to go downtown Manhattan. And these guys do this every single. That's like $700 a week, and these guys do this every single day. So they train at their gym, and they train at Donner's in the morning. Then at night they come back to Jersey and train. They do this every single. That's all they do is train.
Yeah.
Train. That's, and it's amazing if that's all you do, how good you get.
Yeah.
What do you think they do really well? I mean, is there anything they do really well?
Just students of the game. Just students. It's amazing if you're a student of the game. It's the details. If you just pay attention to little details, they're not just rolling. They're rolling with a strategy every day. That's from what I've seen those couple of days I was there. It just seems like they're rolling with a strategy every day. There's a game plan. They're rolling with a game plan. They're not just, hey, let's just roll and get a workout in. There's a game plan. And I think if you game plan when you train, even if you like to roll every time. As long as you're game planning every time you roll, good things happen. If this week I'm just going to work guard passing. This week I'm going to work X. This week I'm going to work sweeps. If you just, you're rolling, but you're rolling with a game plan. I think that definitely steps up your game.
With a purpose.
With a purpose.
Chewy, you were talking about that because we kind of got into the whole discussion about if you feel kind of
stagnant.
Yeah, you're well, just get yourself some kind of goal or something tangible that you can count or something to focus on, some kind of route to go.
Well, you take a position and then you just run with it, and it becomes very easy to understand. Am I getting better at this position? Which is typically hard in jiu-jitsu. Am I getting better?
Right.
What does that mean? Well, if you focus on a particular position, say I'm trying to get this many passes or whatever, or I'm trying to get better with this particular submission. Well, if you go from hitting no submissions in that position to all of a sudden you start hitting some, well, you know that you're getting better at that position.
Yeah.
And then you get to add that game. And a lot of times, if you like you said, all you have to do is focus on jiu-jitsu, it's amazing how good you get. Well, if all you do in your jiu-jitsu is focus on one particular area, it's amazing how good you get at that one thing because your whole body is just, I'm focused on this. You know what I mean? And I mean, it makes a huge difference in your training if you just zero in on something and lock onto it for a bit. That's why you have guys that have particular moves that become synonymous with their name because they've zeroed in on that particular area of the game, and they can just, doesn't matter what you do, it's coming, and they can still, run down your throat.
Like Rafa Mendes. Who's going to Berimbolo. That, and you're not going to stop it. It's just, whenever he went against the Mihas that left the Berimbolo, his Berimbolo was so much better because that's where they learned it from. They learned it from Hoffa.
Yeah.
That's where everybody learned the Berimbolo. It's from Hoffa. It's just, you're not going to stop Hoffa from berimbolo. It just.
What do you think about like some of those newer positions or just the progression of jiu-jitsu?
I like them, and I don't like when people say that's not realistic. That's old school. I'm sorry, that's new school. I think you should learn every position because every position might get used against you, and at least know how to defend it.
Now, I want to touch on the realistic part of it, right? Because that's that.
Yes, you can berimbolo in a street fight,
dude.
What's up?
That comment comes up all the time where people will say something like, "Okay, it's not realistic." You know, they're like, "This isn't realistic."
Whole gi comment.
It's not just about the gi. Like they'll say, "Oh, it's the gi," but then like the people that like the purists who only do that self-defense style, they say, "Well, then the sport's not realistic." But to me, like, I don't know. Like, I've been in actual fights outside of the gym. And you realize, like, one of the biggest things, like, there is, like, if you want to mimic a fight situation, the way that you feel, there is nothing more closely that I can find in jiu-jitsu, right, that mimics a fight than me being in a tournament with another human being that I don't know, and everything's chaotic, and, in training, a lot of times you're in a nice, comfortable, relaxed environment. You still get after it, but like, we're amongst friends, right? We're still going after it. But when you go to a tournament, I don't know that person. They don't know me. They want to literally, like, they don't mind to break my arm to get that win. They want to go home with the win. They want to get the W. And when you go in there, it's chaotic, and a lot of times your moves don't work the way that you wanted them to, and you've got to improvise, and you've just got to figure stuff out on the fly. And in a fight situation, it's very chaotic. It's not like a nice, comfortable roll in the gym. Like, for instance, I saw one time, this was on a travel one time. I went to a gym, and I saw these guys, they were doing self-defense style jiu-jitsu, right? And they were doing these little pitter-patter punches, like with like heavy gloves on, touching each other. I was like, dude, if you think that that's going to prepare you for a fight, you're completely mistaken. I was like, if you don't have someone actually hit you, like, you can practice all this like punch block stuff, but until someone drills you and you know what that feels like and you know how to deal with that kind of punch, you're fooling yourself. But I think that, anyway, I'm getting off on tangent. But what do you think about the whole realism?
See, you said the purists. These purists are people that have never been in a real fight. They say they have, but they haven't. These purists have never been punched in the face. They've never been slapped in real life. These purists are people that have never been in real fights. These purists are just people on social media saying that this won't work, this is going to work. These people have never been in a real fight. So that's why when someone tells me that, I kind of just brush them off. Because if you've never been in a real fight, you cannot talk about fighting. That's how I look at it. And like a purist that says, well, old school jiu-jitsu, you're like, if you just come roll twice a week and you do a couple guard passes, you do a couple fake punches, that's not fighting. That's not going to work in a street fight. It's not going to work anywhere. So if you give me a blue belt, a world champion blue belt, he will destroy a black belt that's never been in a real fight before. I don't care what he's done. If he rolls twice a week, it's just high level jiu-jitsu training. Even if they call it, I don't believe in the word sport jiu-jitsu. I think it's all jiu-jitsu. It's just how you do it. It's all jiu-jitsu to me. Yeah. We'll destroy a regular black belt that comes trains twice a week.
Now, what do you think about people like? Because a lot of times, especially like a lot of people have, basically drawn lines in the sand, and they're basically, I'm over here, they're over there kind of thing. Like, some people are, the gi needs to be gone. You need to get rid of the gi. And some people are like, you have to train in the gi. And then, some people are saying you got to do sport jiu-jitsu. Some people say you got to do self-defense jiu-jitsu. Everybody's like trying to carve out their little niche so that they can basically market themselves. Yeah. But what do you think about like a lot of like the younger crowd that are coming into jiu-jitsu who like watch this stuff and they get into it and they basically, instead of just training and sort of figuring out their own ideas, they take whatever that person says wholesale. Like, I guess because I have a lot of people that watch the channel. Like, what would you say to like someone like that, especially like newbies coming in? Should they just take that person's ideas and run with them, or should they come up with their own stuff first and say just train for a while and figure out what they want to do?
Well, when I tell somebody new, don't sign a contract your first month. I tell everybody who's new to jiu-jitsu, whatever you do not sign a contract your first month, because you don't know what's going to happen a week after. That might not be your style. You might not like that gym. You you might have had one idea what jiu-jitsu is, and then you just realize that this jiu-jitsu gym here does 80% striking, 20% rolling. You might go there, it's 80% rolling and 20%. That's why I tell people that if some gyms you kind of have to, like, have 2 weeks, but if you can just get a whole month into a gym and see if you mesh, if that's your thing, I tell people wait the first month. Because some people, they come to a jiu-jitsu gym. Very few people walk into jiu-jitsu and say, I want to be a jiu-jitsu world champion. Most people come in, they say, I want to get in shape. I want to learn how to defend myself. Very few people, how many people have walked in here and said, hey, I came in here because I want to be the next Rafa Mendes? They probably don't even know Rafa Mendes.
Yeah, they say they want to compete. That's about as good as I'll get.
Maybe compete, yeah.
They never say, I want to be the next insert high-level jiu-jitsu.
And then usually when it comes to competing, it usually ends with, I want to walk in the cage and do MMA. It usually ends up with that.
I want to fight.
We get more of those.
I want to fight UFC.
Yeah.
They say, I want to fight UFC.
But no one comes in here and says, I want to be the next,
By the way, for you guys listening, if you guys are not currently training and you're getting ready to go to a gym, whatever you do not go into the gym and say, I'm here because I want to fight in the cage, I want to fight. Just start training first and then worry about that stuff later.
Also, UFC is not a martial art.
What?
Yeah, you can't fight UFC. You can't.
Man,
Yeah, it's
you
not.
get a lot of people asking.
Yeah, it's
I got the UFC gloves.
Yeah.
Fight UFC.
Yeah, maybe now. See, maybe.
The thing is,
UFC is not. It's not a martial art. People, stop it. Go ahead.
see, the thing is people like I think if you're at a good gym and you walk in and say you want to fight in the cage, and they put you in the cage, you're in the wrong gym. Like I think you're in the wrong gym because anybody that cares about your well-being or wants you to represent well, what was that?
This dude.
Anybody wants you to represent well.
Whoa.
Dude died.
Well, who's that?
He
one?
died?
This is the guy that died here in town. Like for you guys.
Oh,
to
it's
say,
the
yeah. It's like for people that say like, "Oh, I just want to get in the cage." Like, man, like it's a serious
you
business,
hurt
man.
Hurt the shit out.
Wait, he died? What the hell?
So basically, there was a guy here in town who was not in the best of shape.
Wait, the guy getting punched?
Yeah,
The guy
this
getting punched, yeah.
shouldn't have been in the cage. He wasn't training, right? And basically, they just pulled him out of the crowd, and he was like, "Yeah, I'll fight or whatever." And they threw him in there, and now he's.
See, that's how I used to be in the 90s when I used to fight.
He had they said he had pretty much like a heart attack.
He had a heart. He had a heart disease.
Well, yeah, he's freaking
Out of shape and stuff.
out of shape. Probably ate a lot of McDonald's or something.
But you know what's amazing? And I feel bad this guy died. It's amazing how somebody's willing to walk into a cage and fight, but you cannot get them to compete in a 5-minute grappling match. You tell them about a 5-minute grappling match, and they are paralyzed in fear. They're like, what? But you tell them, hey, you want to walk in the cage? Go ahead.
But
They'll walk into a cage and fight, but they will not do a 5-minute grappling match.
But
at
do
a
you think
Naga.
it's kind of the because first off, they walk in the cage for free, and where the Naga they pay for it, and then two, with the Naga, like nobody's real watching. I feel like some guys they just want to fight because they just want to be in the light for a little bit. They want to be the tough guy for a few minutes.
Not if you get
But
destroyed.
it blows my mind. It's like
It doesn't make any sense.
You can walk into a 5-minute grappling match. With the worst come out, you're gonna get tapped. You're gonna tap. You can't get slammed in like beginner division. You're gonna tap. But here, you could potentially die. You can actually fucking die.
But I mean,
that's crazy. You can. I'm just thinking about that. You can fucking die walking into a cage.
Sign me up.
So.
I mean, but
I
I
mean,
think the quality. I feel like the quality of you still getting a lot of people that are super inexperienced, but I feel like the quality of just MMA is probably increased. I feel like, Chewy, what do you think? I mean, you've been around it for a while, and you've been around local scene. I mean, do you feel like it's gotten better? Or you still see people fighting or training in their garages and still coming out there and
you get a lot of
down?
it. So, you still have you have more good fighters now, but at the same time, you still have a bunch of guys that have no business fighting that train and literally and like you were doing stuff.
Like I did. There was no reason I should walk into a cage watching a video from Blockbuster.
Yeah.
I think
there was a guy one time I was at a fight and him and his buddies they had it was team like death whatever something.
I love
really,
those names.
Something really aggressive.
I love
right?
those names.
Team Death Kill.
Team Death Kill.
With some kind of dragon with flames coming out. I love it.
But the guys get it. I was talking to one of them and he was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Where do you train?" He goes, "Oh man, I train with my buddies, a team, whatever it is." And I was like, "Well, where do you guys train?" Like, "Well, we train at his apartment." I was like, "His apartment?" I was like, "What do you mean you train at his apartment?" Like, and they're like, they're talking about training on carpet.
It's got carpet, dude. It's soft.
But see, for me, like when I was coming out of high school and I wanted to fight mixed martial arts, I was like, okay, so I understand how this works because I wrestled. I have to find someone that knows what they're doing so that I don't get my freaking face caved in. So I went and sought out people that knew what they were doing to learn. I don't understand what where you're talking about the guys because obviously once you saw it, you're like, oh my god, I've got to learn this stuff, right? Because you had the good reaction, but some of these guys have a complete disconnect where it's like they don't get it. I've had guys come in literally and do a beginner class. This happened. A guy did a beginner class, couldn't even do a hip escape. Does a little bit of light rolling with me and some of the other guys. Terrible. It's first day. So we go to these fights. I was actually fighting on the card. And this guy, with the promoters laugh, he's giggling, he comes up to me. I was like, "What, man?" He goes, "So I heard you got submitted by this guy that's here." I was like, "Who?" I was like, "I know, there's only a handful of people that submitted me in this city." I was like, "I know who they are, too." I was like, "Well, which one?" And he was like, "That guy." And I looked at him, I was like, "That's the dude that came into the beginner class and couldn't hip escape properly." Yeah. And he was telling everybody that he submitted me. And it's
why?
Because I guess he's trying to talk himself up. He's like, "Oh, yeah, I submitted Chewy." I went and did that. Because basically, he trains or whatever, but, I don't need to take his class, like, because I already submitted him, so I'm better than him.
I just think you tell some MMA promoters just looking for money. Hey, I submitted some local jiu-jitsu guy. Hey, look at this guy on the page. It's so easy.
I think it's crazy how, I mean, when you take on a fight, because technically I was considered an amateur when I did my first MMA fight, but I had already won the World Championships, I won the Pan Am Championships, and I've won a bunch of titles, and I won against some dude who didn't know anything, you know. I don't know, it's crazy how I'm still considered an amateur.
That guy was awesome.
Bobblehead.
Hey, he said that he was a purple belt in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, but there's you guys
There's
know
different kinds
you
of
know
purple
as well as anybody
real
that there's levels to jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
There is
Was he a real purple belt?
Yeah.
Was he really?
Had McDougal on it. Or,
Big dude.
what is it called?
Wait, what?
I'm not gonna say the name of
But
the
it's not like a real jiu-jitsu, right? It's not real. I mean, you don't have to say his
I
name.
think it's garage jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, it's like something else. It's not real jiu-jitsu, man. Because I watched that guy fight. He's not a real
GJJ.
purple belt. I just make my own system.
But there's levels. Like, I mean, you guys know there's levels. I mean,
What's a color that isn't claimed yet? I'm gonna make my own system up.
Tell you gotta start Jiu-Jitsu.
I'm gonna start Jujitsu.
Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah, I'm breaking away.
Yeah, just something like.
what are you
I'm
gonna?
gonna have like 20 belts.
Yeah.
Sweet.
I'm gonna
30
keep that-
stripes.
30
You gotta pay
stripes.
for all of them.
It's gonna be those big fat, like when you get to the final, it's gonna be that big fat belt. So it's like big stripes on right stuff on it, and it's
Tied
like
in a bow.
and belt tests are gonna be
Shoulder
like
pads in the
$200 for a belt test.
You gotta get
everyone.
stripes on top of stripes.
Stripes. You get like you have to fill up with white stripes, and they turn black, and then they turn white again, and then you get your next
Then
belt.
you take a pen and start marking it until it gets all the way down.
$30 a belt or stripe.
Do you, Mike? What do you think about belt tests and all that stuff? Do you like that? Sort
I don't
of
like
thing?
belt testing. I don't like. You don't belt test. You first start talking shit on it.
So
I got belt tested for my blue.
No, no.
belt.
So no.
I mean, if you do it, it's not bad. It shows that you know the
here's
thing.
what-
I don't like it.
we do this thing with the, say for instance the blue, like getting the white to blue. There's some basic things we want covered. We don't do a belt test where we charge them. What we do is we have these classes where they get together and basically, like Chad and myself, we'll walk around and we're looking for certain people to have their things covered, and we'll have them kind of broken up into different groups just so we can watch them amongst their peers. But we're not saying like.
But you're watching that. You're seeing that from the outside. You're knowing that. Okay, I can see he knows how to hip escape. Okay, he knows how to shrimp. Okay, he knows how to pull guard. He knows how to hip toss. So you're seeing that. You're already
Right.
I believe an instructor can see that from the outside and know what's if he's a legit instructor.
Sure.
Yeah.
Reminds me of when I was in Taekwondo, I would do, so I came up with one of my friends, and we were the same belt, but I would beat his ass every day. But he would take this test, and we were side by side, so we got our black belt at the same time. But
How much was the belt test?
each belt test was $50, and then when I got to my black belt test, I had to pay $200 to even take the test. And the first time I failed it because they took a frozen fucking board from outside. It was like the middle of winter. And they took this frozen board. It was frozen solid, and I'm like hitting it.
I wish I could have. I wish I had a video.
I almost broke my hand, and I was like, man.
To see
And then
Chuck.
after the test, they're trying to break it. They can't even break it. So they made me pay another $200 to take the test.
Add that
And
into
I
your
was like,
system.
Huh?
Add, like,
Add it to your
just throw
system.
people off. Like, we're going to break boards.
Dude,
We're going to practice
yeah, like this is how our like. Sorry guys, no. I was thinking about this. We could get like broomsticks and break them with arm bars. Like
you go, yeah.
instead of like chopping the board, like we get like these like little long like sticks, and we could break them with arm bars. You have to test how like really badass your arm bar is.
It's gotta be
That might not
halfway
be a
broken
bad
already.
idea. That might not be
It's
a
gotta be
bad
halfway
idea.
broken already.
Yeah, you gotta have like.
That's terrible.
You know, it's funny though. I've been a part of like some different stuff where I've like listened to people talk about their like theories and like the way to run this business, and I'm very much like you got to straddle the line between personal and business because I don't ever want it to be like something where it becomes screwy where you're ripping people off and being a dirtbag. But there was this one thing where like, and again for people that do this is whatever, that's your own thing, but they were like, your students can never address you by their name. It always has to be by your title, right? And then like you can't be friends with them. You can't like have a beer with them. You can't do like. And I remember like at the time I was like, "What the hell is this thing?" Like like they're trying to make some like weird, like this is weird. And then they were talking about like charging them all these different fees and stuff. I was like, I remember my girlfriend because I was like listening to this thing that these people talk, and my girlfriend's like, "What the hell are you listening to?" You know. And there's gyms out there that are like that where they fire off those.
Well,
bubbles.
Carrie was at some gym in where was she at? And had all these rules.
Yeah.
I mean, do you think like that there's some benefit to having any kind of like, since the gyms you've been at, like with all these rules, like say,
it's good to have some structure. You need some structure. You can't just have people just.
Yeah.
There's got to be there's got to be some structure. I don't know if you should be like the dictator, but there's got to be some structure. There's got to be like, I don't know. There's got to be.
Well, like I feel like here, like obviously Chewy's and Chad are our friends and stuff, but man, it's like, you know, we know when to joke around, but we also know like if there's freaking serious. We know that when they're speaking, that you know you gotta listen, because you know they're running the fucking gym, they're running the practice, but I think this is a respect thing, like we talked about.
But if you're gonna have a student that's interrupting you, that guy's not. That kind of personality is not gonna last in a jiu-jitsu gym anyway. Someone that does something like that, I already know off the bat their personality. I hate to say it, but I can tell if someone's even gonna last. In jiu-jitsu, I have like the Miss Cleo. Remember Miss Cleo?
Call me now.
Yeah. I have that with jiu-jitsu. Like I can talk to, if I spend at least a couple hours with you, I can pretty much predict your future jiu-jitsu. Like,
so
at least I think I can.
So me and Chewy kind of
pretty
talked
bleak.
about some traits and stuff. What are some traits that you think are in somebody that could, you know, last in jiu-jitsu?
If they come from some kind of struggle in life, I believe struggle. If they come from extreme poverty, if they come from a hard upbringing, if they come from a alcoholic, abusive family, if they come from, I believe there's got to be some struggle, because jiu-jitsu is struggle. Jiu-jitsu is not easy. Jiu-jitsu is not for everyone. It is for everyone at the beginning, but after a while, they start knocking off. You got to come from struggles. Jiu-jitsu is struggle. Jiu-jitsu is not the I don't want to say it's the rich man's sport. It's not for, if you have had an easy life, jiu-jitsu, you're not gonna last that long. You got to come from some struggle. You got to come from poverty. You have to come from hunger. You have to come from either you were abused. You know, there's got to be some kind of like you were bullied coming up. There's got to be some kind of struggle, you know. Or you come from a very hard. That's why wrestlers do really good, because they've come from a very disciplined, you know. So that's why wrestlers, I think, acclimate to jiu-jitsu, because they come from a very hard discipline. Usually, if you're really good at wrestling, you probably start from a young age. You probably started from like 6th, 7th grade. Usually, those guys usually make, because they've already come from that discipline. So if you come from some kind of grappling sport, now there's a few people that they were young, they've taken judo and they've lasted. So, but also there's some karate black belts that do good at jiu-jitsu, because they did strict training. You know, they found the light. They see the light that, you know, karate's not going to cut it. So you either need a strict upbringing with something or some kind of struggle. So if you've just been sitting on the couch playing video games, you're probably not going to make it in jiu-jitsu. Sorry. Just being honest.
I do that after jiu-jitsu.
I feel like
after jiu-jitsu, you can do whatever you want.
And I feel like
I don't know why I keep looking that way.
Anybody that's like along with that struggle, you know, it's a struggle to be good to actually gain a skill at something. You know, I feel like even if it's like someone maybe, you know, like I said, kind of going back to being disciplined, whatever. You know, it's like if they've unlocked that idea of like, so this is what it takes to be good at something. You know, a lot of deliberate training, a lot of deliberate practice, whether that be playing an instrument or learning how to choke a person out. Like, once you understand how that works, Jesus Christ, man, you take that over everything else. Because then you're like, oh, so I'm going to take on this new thing. Well, I know what it takes to be good at it. A lot of friggin' work and just, you know, persistence and perseverance on it. You know, you just keep going.
Yeah, another thing on the Mr. Jiu-Jitsu page, about 50% of my messages are people, actually females, who have been sexually assaulted, that are now, they're just in love with jiu-jitsu. They've gotten past that barrier of rolling with men, and it's just amazing. Like I said, you got to come from some kind of struggle, some kind of abuse, there's got to be some kind of struggle in your life. That I think that if you struggle, it goes hand in hand with jiu-jitsu. I just feel like those two mesh. Like a struggle and jiu-jitsu are two things that are, because jiu-jitsu is struggle. Jiu-jitsu is constantly struggle. You're never going to master jiu-jitsu. I don't care how good you are. You're never going to master the sport. It's unmasterable. Is that a word? Unmasterable? Did I just make up a word?
Unmasterable. It makes sense, though.
Sounds like masturbate.
You never finish it.
Unmasterable. Masturbator rule.
Unmasturbatable. That might be the bear talking now.
So, like, as far as since you've been in jiu-jitsu for a long time, like, have you adapted your game? Like, have you adapted jiu-jitsu, like your training, your rehab, anything like that, as far as injury-wise? You know, because a lot of people get injured and they just go away from jiu-jitsu. They kind of, you know, it kind of just drives them away from it because it's,
I've used jiu-jitsu for everything in life, just for my injuries, for the way I work, the way I interact with my kids, the way I do business, the way I actually use jiu-jitsu for everything. So like for my injuries, my shoulder's torn out. My tricep has been detached for the last almost 8 years. So I used to like to be on top a lot. Now I'm on the bottom a lot because it's really hard for me to push down. So if I'm constantly on top, I'm going to have to brace. Either I'm going to have to brace on your stomach. So I like playing from the bottom. You know, if I sweep, sometimes I'll just go right back on the bottom. My shoulder's being separated. So I like to do a lot of open guard. Okay, and I do my arms like this. Because if I do a lot of closed guard like this, it starts hurting my shoulder. So I just adapted my injuries around it. So I know I can't do the stuff I used to do when I used to roll when I was 20 and 30. Now that I'm in my 40s, I just had to change my game around. You know, my doctors told me 10 years ago, don't ever roll again.
Now, how long have you been training?
22 years.
22 years. And so here's the interesting question, because like for me, this is always kind of, I have an answer for it, but it's always kind of a difficult thing to answer, and people don't necessarily understand. So you've had detached tricep, separated shoulder, and then a plethora of other injuries. Obviously, I'm sure. Why do you keep doing it?
I love it. The struggle. Again, it's the struggle. I love the struggle. I'm obsessed with the struggle. I'm obsessed with the failures and then the outcome. You know, I'm obsessed with the solution to the struggle. I'm like, okay, I'm struggling with this. The solution is to work hard and get past that. And I'm struggling with this week. The solution is to do this and get past that. So it's just I love the struggle. Have
you ever had someone ask a question like that where you're like nursing an injury and they're like, why the hell do you do that stuff? And you're like, because I freaking love it. Like, again, it's hard to explain to someone who doesn't do it.
And it's that again. It says I love that struggle. Plus I love telling somebody else with an injury that you can do it. And I like making myself the example. I know I talk all the time about you training injuries, but I'm the example. I'm that guy that works 60 hours a week with injuries, with a family, with kids, and I still make time to train. So I like being the example. So that's what it's almost like I enjoy training with injuries, so I can show the person with injuries, hey, you can do this. You know.
That's the one thing I love about jiu-jitsu is that, I mean, as a physical therapist, I get questions all the time about injuries and how you can. I don't know if there's ways maybe you can avoid injuries, but injuries are always going to be there.
You're going to get injured.
But the thing about jiu-jitsu that I love is I feel like of all the sports, and I played soccer growing up, of all the things that or activities that you can do and be physical, I think jiu-jitsu is one of those activities that you can do into your, they said like what, who's Elio died like they said the last day that before he died or something, he was rolling or something like that.
I trained with a 78-year-old. I don't know if you've ever seen that video of James Terlecki. He's one of my instructors. I train with him all the time. Me and him roll every week. So 78 years old.
The thing is, the beautiful thing about jiu-jitsu is there's always a path. Like you can always modify. Like we had a guy that's got Jesse, whose leg is amputated, or he had some kind of deformity growing up, or when he was born, and like dude, he can do jiu-jitsu. I mean, I saw a video of a guy at IBJJF. He like competed, for 3 years. He never won a match, and he finally won a match.
There's blind people that compete.
Yeah,
there's double amputees that compete. Exactly. That's why I don't do good with excuses. A lot of people think I'm just being an asshole. I'm just saying stuff to be funny. There's blind people that compete. I have a video of a little kid that was born without arms and legs doing jiu-jitsu. So if that person can do jiu-jitsu, you can do jiu-jitsu. Unless you're bedridden, you can do jiu-jitsu.
Somebody will like jam their thumb and they'll quit for like 2 weeks. I'm like, fuck, I put my hand behind my back and I'll still roll.
I've duct taped my arms, my body, and
my toes broke. And
just tell your trainer. Just tell the person you're training with, hey, watch this. Just watch this. It's very simple.
There's always a way to modify. That's the thing I love about jiu-jitsu. Like you said, that you're injured, you can't push off. Yeah. You switch your game, play more bottom, or have to play to one side, or.
But see, the problem that's where ego comes in. People can't switch off. People are like, no. I can't get tapped in the gym today. Oh, no, I can't. I can beat this guy if I was healthy. No? Right. See, that's ego. That's ego.
How do you deal with, and this is something, I've had trouble with before, how do you deal with if somebody, lower belt or whatever taps you out? I deal with this a lot because I get tapped all the time by lower belts. What do you, like, what's your mindset? Like, do you think, fuck, I suck at jiu-jitsu, I'm going to quit? Or
no, I'm inspired. I get inspired. When a white belt taps me, I get inspired. When a blue belt taps me, I get inspired. I get inspired that, guess what? Got to train a little bit harder. Got to do this, got to do that. But sometimes when I'm rolling with one specific thing in my mind. So it doesn't bother me. Like sometimes I'm like, today I'm just working on this. Today I'm going to work on my defense. So I might get caught. So the other person doesn't really know what I'm doing because I've been doing it for so long. Now there's sometimes where a white belt will legit catch me. A blue belt, it happens. You get caught. And I'm like, okay, well, guess what? you got lazy there. You should have been moving there. You got to be, it's just, it's everything is a learning process to me.
I mean, at the end of the day, you realize it's your own bullshit.
Yeah.
Like, the only reason that it matters, or the only reason you see it's such a bad thing is your own perception. Like, it's a bad thing. Why? Because the guy submitted, who cares?
It'll affect you earlier in your jiu-jitsu journey.
Yeah.
The older you, once you train as much as I do, it means nothing. But at the beginning, it's going to mess with your ego a little bit. It's going to be like, okay, I've been training for 3 years. I just won this in this tournament. How did this guy just walk in here and catch me? Then you start second-guessing yourself. You start going down this path that you don't want to go down. You start like, oh, maybe I'm not as good as I thought. What am I doing wrong? Maybe then you're like, am I training with the right guys? Do I need to do this seminar? Is this guy, was he teaching us the right thing? That other school's doing that. And you start playing with these little mind games with yourself. So it's and those are things you just got to struggle with. You just got to fight through those things. It's very easy at the beginning of your jiu-jitsu, the first couple of years of your journey, to start second-guessing yourself, which is why people don't last in jiu-jitsu. There's a lot of mind games in jiu-jitsu too that you play with yourself.
But that's the cool part about it, is because it brings those. One of the things I think that's really interesting, like a lot of times jiu-jitsu lacks that, like say traditional martial arts, which have the the outwardly show of like this discipline and all this stuff, with the rituals that they have. Whereas jiu-jitsu a lot of times doesn't have those things. It does in some places, but in a lot of cases it doesn't. But it has an interesting way of like still creating these same things, but they come from inside, right? Because it bubbles up in you, just like your own bullshit pops up your own head, like you get your ego is popping up, and you realize it's your ego. You realize that it's like, I'm being stupid about this, but for some reason it's still getting to me. You got to like face it down. Or like one of my guys at purple belt, he had like, this guy's like, again, not a person I would have ever guessed would have been like nervous or even kind of afraid of a match. And his opponent got switched last minute before, it was a jiu-jitsu match. Got switched, and he had this dude that he thought was super good, and he went in there, and he basically was doing really well. He got caught towards the end, but afterwards he was like, man, he goes, I faced down my fear because I was so nervous. He's like, and I did better than I thought I could, and sometimes, again, it helps kind of bring that stuff out of you, like, man, there's more in you than you think there is. And it does it from an inward place, not from so much of an outward place. Because again, like when your face is getting smashed on the mat, you're in your own head. You got to deal with that stuff,
Yeah. Some of my best thinking I do is when I'm stuck in a cross, when someone's got me a side mount. That's when the oxygen. That's my thinking is like, okay, it's like I'm just stuck with this moment right now. How do I get out of this? How do I survive here? And it makes your brain. It narrows your brain down to it's some of my best thinking is right there. It's like, okay, I can only do a certain amount of things right now. I know if I try to power out of this, I'm probably going to get caught in the head and arm, especially from side arm. He's going to go to full mount. So those are some of my best. The most clarity I get is in the worst positions in jiu-jitsu. So I know it's weird. It's in those moments where everything starts closing in. The window starts closing is where I start seeing real clear.
Yeah, I'm doing a lot of thinking.
Because it's such a pure moment. You know that there's only a few seconds where I got to move. I got to do something. It's just there's no time to. You can't go back and think of that seminar 3 years ago how to escape out of that. It's just you got to go right now. So it's.
I was going to ask you, what inspired you to start your jiu-jitsu channel, your page?
I started the page because I was looking for gyms just like this. I was just I was visiting a lot of gyms over the last 10 years, and I was like, it's hard to find gyms. So I was like, I'm going to start a page, and I would take pictures, and I was like, maybe they'll see, and I'll post I'm going to this city next if anyone's there to roll. And then one day I just started writing my thoughts on there. And then a couple people liked it, and then a couple people shared it, and then I got more people shared it. Then I woke up one morning, and it was just like, I had like 10,000 followers. I'm like, what the? Like, why? And I couldn't understand it. It's just from writing something on. Then I like if I'm having a bad day, I'll make like a meme. Or if somebody tells me something, I can't train because of that, I'll make a meme out of just something that somebody tells me. It's usually, I don't want to make a rant, so I'll make a meme out of it. And some people are like, I don't even understand what that means. So sometimes I make a meme, people won't even understand what I'm saying. They're like, because it's too like, it's something too emotional. Like some people make a meme like, leave your ego at the door, and I'm like, whoa. And I'll write something a little deeper than that, so some people wouldn't understand some of my memes. But then some people were actually, that did jiu-jitsu a lot, were catching on to it. They're like, well, this guy's actually, he's thinking the same way as me. He's, I understand what he's saying. Then somehow people just kept sharing the page. I would write my thoughts, and then I would make some videos, and people kept sharing, and then this is where we're at. I'm still not sure why people like it.
How did you feel like it developed? Like because you're a little bit, like I was talking earlier, we were talking locker room about you and Chewy. Chewy's kind of like, appeals to the masses. I feel like he's very much.
Yeah, I want to be more like
he answers
like
all
Chewy. I don't
questions.
think I can.
I don't think when somebody asks Chewy a question, like I think he's very respectful. I'm not saying you're disrespectful. I'm saying he's just very.
No, you can
like,
say it. I'm disrespectful. You can say it.
He's
I don't care. I
open,
don't
like
care.
to certain, but like you kind of cut the bullshit. Like, how did that? Is there a reason that came about?
That came from, just like I said, training from the 90s. Just training from the 90s. I lost my father when I was young, so I've been through some struggles in life, and everything I had to do was hard. Everything is hard. I still work hard. Everything I do is hard. I learned jiu-jitsu the hard way, so everything I do is from a hard point of view. So as soon as somebody tells me, you know what, it's too hard to train after working 40 hours a week, bullshit. It's too hard to train because my back hurts, bullshit. It's too hard to train with 2 kids, bullshit. It's all bullshit. Bullshit. You can train.
Yeah.
You just don't want to train. You're just looking for an excuse. And I'm just here to tell you you're full of shit. That's all.
How do people take that?
So, a lot of people don't take good. Like, people send me private messages. They want to shoot me. They want to kill me. They want to fight me. I have some crazy messages. But there's also some people that are like, you know what? I went back to training because of what you posted. I'm training again because of what you posted. I'm doing this again because of what you posted. And when people tell me that stuff, you're just giving me ammunition to post more stuff. So it's just...
Yeah. It's crazy when people say that they don't have time to do something. I was like, man, I worked 15 hours and then had to drive straight to Nashville because something got left off the truck. So I had to drive straight there. And I came right into jiu-jitsu after that, no sleep. I probably hadn't been asleep in like 2 days, so I was like, I gotta train.
You used to compete on no sleep.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I would stay up 2 days straight because I had to, just to be able to compete. I was like, fuck it, I love competing. I was like, that's what I love doing. I was talking to you about that earlier. It's like...
But now here's the problem. Now you're going to get that 45-year-old guys who are like, "Well, Chad, you're 22 years old. You know, I got to work. I was at the factory with then I got to come home. And I got the wife. I got the kids. You can still find time to train.
There's time. You have to you have to.
If you really
And
want
I tell
to make
people,
time.
if you can't, if the gym is from 6 to 8 and you get off at 9, put a couple mats in your garage, make a post, invite people over to train.
Yeah.
If you really want to train, you can always find people to train. So there's a way to do it. If you really want to, there's a way to do it. People just don't want to do it.
Yeah.
People just are more excited to...
I mean, if you're at a good gym, somebody has a key, and if you're dedicated to be like on Sundays, everybody wanted to do a competition training. Our guy Justin, he's like, we got to get a competition training, and not finally, we were like, here. He's like, here, do it on Sundays. And now it's become a big program where there's 20, 30 people doing competition training just how bad do you want it, you know?
And I tell people that make excuses, let me spend the day with you. Let me spend 24 hours with you. I'll pick them apart in 24 hours. I'll sit in their house. I'll see them sitting on the couch. I'll see their Cheetos on the ground. I'll see their Doritos over here. I'll see the junk food over here. I'll see the new video game they bought here. I'll see the new rims they put on their new Fast and Furious car outside. I'll find all the stuff. And I'll go, that's why you can't afford it, because of this, because of this, because of this. Because you got the Red Bulls in your car. You got that. So...
Yeah.
Invite me over for 24 hours and I'll set you straight.
Chewy, and you talked about kind of like people like, you know, having like the money or the time and like just having the priorities, you know, like having their shit straight, just figuring out like what do you value? Like, is it?
But see, most people don't know. Like most people don't even fucking know what they really want. Like they go about and they just like they buy shit and they just do stuff. And they don't really know what they want. You know what I mean? Like you know, when I got into jiu-jitsu, that's what I wanted. Right. Like it's like, so like I sacrificed a lot of things. I didn't go drink. I didn't go out and party. I didn't have the money. You know, so I was like, because I had to pay for my dues. Right. You know, for travel, for competitions. I didn't go out and spend tons of money on dumb shit. I never did. Like, so while everybody else was doing their stuff and getting like, you know, credit card swipe stuff and they're all racked out in debt, I was like, no, I just want to do jiu-jitsu. That's it. You know what I mean? So it's like, but you know, people a lot of times don't really know what they want
until something bad happens in their life, and then all of a sudden they need jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
One day, someone's going to shove them, someone's going to bully their kid, a road rage might happen, someone might attack their family member, and then sometimes those things is what brings you to jiu-jitsu. Sometimes, that's why I said you need to come from some kind of struggle. I think struggle makes you find jiu-jitsu.
Well, and I feel like most humans when things are good, whatever. But when things get bad, like when there's something there's something nipping at your ass, then you're going to get up and do something, you know. But when things are good, like, very easy to be complacent, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I think like Chad, you're when you got your black belt, you know, knowing your story and stuff was very, you know, it was just touching, because I think martial arts, I mean, not necessarily maybe just jiu-jitsu, but everything, like, you know, with with you growing up and just stuff that you've dealt with, I think jiu-jitsu is this is kind of your family too, and for Chewy as well. You know, you guys have kind of, you know, you grew up here. Basically, I remember your
It's crazy. I mean, I've done a bunch of different martial arts, but just the family type atmosphere that you get with jiu-jitsu is different than any other. Because I'm putting trust that you're not going to break my arm every day. I don't know. It's just something about jiu-jitsu that I really love. And
well, it's pure. Like it's pure. It's like you're actually like, you know, you can't box at 100%. You know, like you can't go. You can actually go 100% in jiu-jitsu or close to 100% when you get to that point where, you know, the submission's there, or, you know if you have the presence of mind to let go of the submission, or, you know, or the person taps and you start over. And that's kind of like, that's the thing, like people can't hide when you roll. You cannot hide in jiu-jitsu because you know, you can't talk. I mean, you can say, oh, I'm injured or this or that, but behind all the bullshit, like if you're grappling with somebody, you're going to know who's the more, you know, skilled athlete, more skilled grappler.
And we're putting our lives in each other's hands.
You are.
Which is why it's like family, because I'm going to trust my mother, I'm going to trust my father, I'm going to trust my brother and sister. And it's almost like things that we're putting our lives in each other's hands, so you trust them the same way as you would a very close relative. We're literally putting seconds away from being choked out, seconds away from my arm being, seconds away from a year of rehab on my knee if I get knee bar. Everything's seconds away, and we're stopping right at that second and telling the person, look, there's the trust.
For me as well, like I grew up without. I mean, I had family, but there wasn't like anything crazy. Like my girlfriend now, I go to her house and they're having like family dinners and all this stuff. I'm like, shit, I've never had that in my life, you know. And I went to jiu-jitsu and they're all like, hey, let's go out to eat after. Let's do this after. One time I didn't have enough money to do something, so Chewy's like, here you go. I was like, here's a little bit of money. He didn't have much at the time either, but, you know, he'd pay for my food.
And I think that's what makes jiu-jitsu unique. And I always tell people that's what makes it unique than the other sport, because people are willing to do that. Like you said, it seems like this exact, I don't want to call it this martial art, it seems like we do that a lot. I think it's because we're putting each other's lives seconds away in each other's hands.
You know, there's a certain sort of bond. Like, I mean, like there's a guy on the mat here, Dustin. He doesn't talk a lot, very quiet, but like I feel pretty darn close to the guy because I mean, man, like I've been training with him since 2009. We've beaten the living tar out of each other, and there's a certain bond that you have that transcends just verbal communication when you're beating the piss out of each other. Like I said, where you have each other's safety in your hands and you stop where when you need to. But just over the years, you train with each other. There's a connection that exists. Yeah, it doesn't exist. I've never had a relationship like that in anything else. Like where like you don't even have to say words and you can like connect with someone. You know what I mean? Even with people that you have language barriers. You know, like I've trained over, you know, in different places with people that don't speak the language, and you're training with them, and it's cool. Like you can, you know what I mean? Like you can develop like a somewhat of a friendship like that, even though you can't communicate. Like we know we're on good terms. You know, it's an interesting thing.
I mean, you're right. It is about the struggle. Like we all struggle together, and then like the feeling that you get after a hard like day of training at jiu-jitsu, like just like I don't know. For me, it's like a sense of I feel like my day is going to be good.
It's accomplishment. It's accomplishment.
Have you ever read Sebastian Junker's Tribes?
No.
Okay, so that's like to me like the way that he talks about like in some of his other books, but when he talks about like soldiers, like where they would go out and they would they'd be in these crazy situations, right? And he would say that when they would come back to regular like nice comfortable civilization where everything's just comfy, they would have a lot of trouble adapting back, to it, and they'd want to kind of secretly want to go back. They have this yearning to want to go back to their struggle, and a lot of them, when it boiled down to, is like, like when we're all out there, we're all in this like crazy situation together, and you know that I got your back and you got mine, right? Because we have people shooting at us, and it cuts through all the bullshit. There is no like, where we're trying to stab each other behind the back, because basically we're depending on each other for safety. And I think that's kind of what it happens sometimes on a much lesser scale that we're not getting shot at. But like it cuts through bullshit, because like if we're rolling after each other, like even like Chad and I, we're rolling like trying to beat the shit out of each other. Like literally, it'll happen sometimes where like we'll kick each other in the face. We'll be in the middle, like there's hard faces, whatever. And then one of us will just like hit each other in the chin, like, oh, are you okay? I'm good. Okay, keep going. Back to where we were. You know what I mean? And there's that thing, and so you're having this crazy experience, but you know that you got my back and I got yours too. And again, that's that connection, and then that's what it reminds me of when you hear them talk about the relationship that these soldiers had with these guys over in Afghanistan, right? Like it reminds me of the same kind of type of thing that you have with good long-time training partners.
Well, I think people have a hard time, like, that's why I think soldiers, I've never been in the military, but that's why soldiers have a hard time acclimating back to civilian life.
Yeah.
Because I think they're just like, there's such a camaraderie there and such a...
That's why I never
such
did. That's why I never
together.
did good at like a regular job, because I was like so used to like being in the gym with like guys in wrestling and jiu-jitsu, and you're just like, we're boys, we're friends, you know, like it's awesome, you know. And then and you'll say what you want to say, and we're like this. And then you go to like a workplace in like a corporate office where everybody's like out there like trying to like fuck each other, like, you know, like behind the back, like say shit to the boss or something. Like, what the hell is this? Like, just if you have problems, just talk about it. But it's not like that.
Like,
you know?
we say things to each other, like, we joke about things, and we say things, and you know, I think there's a lot of honesty. I mean, there's a lot of honesty when we train, and we also, you know, there's a lot of honesty and emotion that comes out, you know, when after a hard day of training, you know, there's good conversation. Like at our gym, we have so many different people from so many different walks of life. I say it all the time, we have lawyers and you know, teachers and whoever. I mean, everybody and anybody and
Yeah, only in jiu-jitsu could you
And
get
a
a
lot of us
multi-billionaire to
fucking-
roll with a person
And
that's
a lot of
making
us-
minimum
yeah, we
wage.
got people who are-
That's a neat thing about it too,
Yeah.
man. Like you could, like if you were to like, if you had like a little like,
It's a humbling feeling
microcosm.
well, like if it was like some, like if you had some sort of screen and like a video game or something, you could click on the person and like have it light up above like how much money they make in a year or something like that, you know, like, and then just go down the line. It's like just all over the place. There's not like one type of person. You've got every sort of like you got a swath of all sorts of different people.
great.
Like in this gym, you know, in particular, like for us, like I mean, we've got people from all over this damn city. Like people that drive over an hour away just to get here, and you know, we've got guys that, like I said, work like just whatever job that they're working, and then some guys that are like, you know, very, very wild.
It's a melting pot. It's
Yeah.
insane.
I drive 40 plus minutes. I probably passed 3 gyms on the way here. And I've been here, you know, it wasn't the first gym I started at. The gym I was at closed, and I came here, and it was just always just a welcoming atmosphere. And it was just like, it's not, you know, like we have respect for our coaches, but we also know our coaches care about us, and you know, we can kind of hang out and shoot the shit. And yeah, I don't feel like, you know, Chad's better than me or Chewy's better than me. Like, we're all in the same, you know, even though, you know, we had different backgrounds, we're all maybe make different amounts of money or different levels of education. We're all kind of on the same plane. I think I just like the diversity, and I just think it just adds to you know, the experience for sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
What'd you guys think about ADCC this week?
It's great.
I thought it was awesome.
Awesome. Huh?
There's some upsets, you know, like
Craig Jones.
Craig Jones.
Craig, I mean, you know,
Craig Jones.
because I've seen Craig Jones compete, you know, in the EBIs and stuff, but like man, like he came out there and just like he submitted Lowe, and then he submitted Santana. Both those dudes are super tough, and he just looked in complete control. You know, and then like we talked about earlier, Gordon Ryan, he just was a monster.
MVP, like I said, if there was an MVP for ADCC, it was definitely.
I mean, I think he's the youngest ADCC champ.
I think this is the first time they had American champions.
American, yeah.
first
For
time.
that weight class, because they've had Americans in other weight
I think
classes.
Dean Lister won the heavy.
Dean Lister won the absolute because he
won the absolute.
I think he lost in the finals.
I think Mark Kerr won at one
Mark
time.
Kerr won.
Mark
Jeff
Kerr,
Munson won
yeah.
before. They had. Do you remember that big South African guy, Mark Robinson or something? He was this huge dude, and he would just like. I mean, he was like. Because back in the day, the guys would just wait. They do a takedown at the end and
It
get.
was like
points.
plus 99 kilogram or something division.
Yeah. And
What about Orlando Sanchez? That's
What a beast!
roll with him, dude. He's so.
that is so.
I've never rolled with someone where it was like he was that big and that agile. Like, because we went again, it was his first black belt tournament. It was the Chicago Open 2013, and I didn't know who he was, you know, and he'd won Brown Worlds and stuff, and he's a black belt then. And then so I look over at him. We're in the bullpen together, getting ready because we're getting ready to go against each other. And I look at him like, he's a big guy. I'll just, you know, 10-minute match, first 5 minutes, gonna take my time, just get settled in, and then I'll start to come alive at the end and try to wear him down because it usually works all right.
Yeah.
And I remember it was like 5 minutes in, I was down 2 points because he got the takedown. I'm like, all right, 5 minutes in, I'm gonna start coming, like start putting the burners on, you know, and try to wear this big guy down. And I remember I got the arm drag, pulled his arm to the side, and like came forward, and his big ass jumped up. And I mean, faster than I can even like comprehend. Like, how is he moving so fast? He's big. And then he like turned around and like just charged for me. Like, oh no, But he was so fast. And even like this weekend when I watch him, like he just moves like a damn cat, man. And for being 300 pounds, that's whatever he is, it's intense, man.
He's awesome. He's that's where athleticism comes in, though. I think he's very athletic. I mean, I think he's skilled.
And guys that size are not athletic.
Right. It's like, being that big and being able to move like that, like, when you have big guys and you, like, expect to wear them out, that's where it gets Yeah, I mean, Gordon was freaking incredible.
Did you have a favorite match?
I, honestly, one of my favorite matches was the Galval super fight.
Okay.
I like this with Calisans. I like it because you had two people with two different ideas of how that super fight should go. Calisans was like, okay, if I start losing a certain fight, we're just gonna like roll. And Galval was like, it was kill to the last minute. And Calisans was telling him, like, slow down. And he was just like, kill.
Yeah, because they were training partners for.
I guess they didn't talk for a year. And what really strikes me is that he had a T-shirt and a hat made before the match. No one ever does that before a match. It's like the ultimate, like,
I've never.
That's the ultimate kiss of death, is to make a shirt that you're gonna win a match. He had a shirt that said 2017 World Champion.
ADCC champion. Yeah.
Like, I want to have that level of confidence. People think I'm confident. I don't have that level of confidence. There's no way I'm going to go have a printer make a shirt telling me I'm going to be the next whatever. He had a shirt and a hat made.
Yeah, he was like,
I want that level of confidence. I want that level of confidence. That's crazy. You're going to make a shirt and hat. That you're that.
Yeah, but maybe he didn't tell anybody about it. Did he tell people about it?
No, he didn't.
Well, obviously you're going to lose. You're like, hey, what shirt? But it's crazy. That's pretty, like,
yeah.
I'm not saying I believe in, like, being jinxed, but I just feel like that is like a bad omen.
Yeah, for me, I wouldn't be like, ooh.
Yeah, it's like guaranteed you're probably going to lose if you're going to make a shirt. That's, I don't know, just. But I like that he was just that. He was attacking. He did not stop attacking. He warmed down. Head snaps. It's amazing. Head snap. It's almost like boxing. It's like a jab. You do that enough times.
I was so surprised
you get somebody's head.
That Gordon Ryan tapped out Keenan Cornelius of the guillotine. I was like, wow.
Keenan was up on points at the time, I think, wasn't he?
I wasn't sure.
You said he was. Like,
and his neck's very Gumby-ish. I was surprised.
Yeah, it came on slow because because he kind of snapped them down into it and they were standing, and then it was like, he doesn't look like he probably doesn't have it, because there wasn't, like, you didn't get that immediate, like, oh shit, like where you start to see people move. He just kind of like sat there, and then all of a sudden they sort of came down to the ground, and I was like, there it was. I was like, oh, shit.
But that is a Henzo move. That's from original Henzo move, the head and arm. So I'm sure that's a very perfected move. There's our whole system of how they're putting the pressure on. There's a whole system, so I'm sure there's a lot of intricacies.
I thought Keenan looked tired, though. Like, he started getting, because he kept snapping. Gordon kept snapping his head down, and he just didn't look like he really won a lot of it.
Actually, Buchecha, even though he lost, he had some hard matches. He's probably had one of the hardest paths. He had that crazy match with Orlando. He had a lot of hard matches, and he got choked out by. He won the absolute.
Pena?
Yeah, he got absolute, but he had a lot of hard matches.
He's kind of like, I don't know. He doesn't get a lot of attention, Pena. Like, you don't hear a ton about him.
But he's constantly winning. He's constantly winning.
I mean, like,
and he does a lot of gi too. He does a lot of no-gi.
He was. I mean, obviously, he was. Unfortunately, he got popped or whatever in the IBJJF. Because he had a world title, and they snagged it away from him. Yeah. But I mean, he's good, man.
Chewy, I want to ask you, like, we talked about this a little bit, but about, like, performance enhancing drugs and what do you feel about that? Like, do you think? I
don't care. It's like, I mean, man, like, the thing is, dude, like, there's so many ways to, like, get to bypass that system that they have in place where you're getting drug tested on this day, and then, like, another thing is, man, dude, there's like these. Like these guys in their 40s, man, and like maybe they have like some crazy genetics, but for the most part, I mean, man, like, you're 40 years old competing with people like half your age at the highest level possible at an elite stage. You're probably not doing it because you ate your Wheaties, right? Like, I mean, I'm just saying, it's steroids are a part of like sports, not just jiu-jitsu. It's sports, man. Like, there's a reason why football players are like 50, 60 pounds heavier than they were 30 years ago. Like, there's a reason why like guys are hitting home runs like out of the park. Like, it's like people want, and the thing is like people, they don't want to admit it, but they want to see superhumans. Like, they want to see superhuman stuff. right? But then, like, they find out someone's a cheater, like, so it's a catch-22. One, if they don't use the drugs, oh, well, then, you know, he's washed up, whatever, you know, that's that. But if then he's drug, oh, he's doing great, but then if they find out, oh, well, he's a cheater, like, man, like, whatever, dude. I don't care.
Like, I believe, like, if we signed up for a match, we have the same rules. And if you go out of there, you're cheating.
Yeah.
Now, but I still compete against you. I don't care if you're on steroids. And I know if you're on steroids. I can tell from a mile away. I know when someone's juiced up. They got that look, the juice look, I call it.
What's that look?
That
Describe
juice
that
look, the caveman chin, the zits, the quick temper. You feel the strength that I roll with powerlifters. I roll with guys that do CrossFit, and there's just a whole different kind of level of strength. There's just a whole little, you know, especially older guys my age. You know, some guys same age as me, all of a sudden he's ripped with a six-pack, and a year ago he didn't have that six-pack. I know he's taking some TRT and stuff, whatever. But if we have a match, and we signed up, and we signed a contract to follow the same rules, I don't care what it is it drugs, is it alcohol? If we have the same rules, it's bullshit. You're fucking cheating, and you're probably an asshole.
Probably an asshole.
Because it's cheating. It's cheating. If maybe now it's on the mat, I don't care what you're on. I don't care if you got bull horns coming out, whatever juice you're on, I'll roll with you. I don't care. But if we signed up for something and you can affect my money, my life, my record, something I do for a living, it's not fair. You know, I don't think it's fair.
So you think you should have like the juiced head league?
Yeah, and in our sport, you're never gonna know. Someone's gonna tell you, I'm not on the juice.
I mean, you know, and I think a lot of those guys, like, I think there's probably, because there's guys that you won't, you know, necessarily know, because like there's guys like the Meow brother, like
He was on juice.
But it's like, man, you know what? Probably some of that stuff, because those guys, they systemically overtrain. It's like they probably need to just hold their shit together, like, you know, because they train so much. It's like their bodies are like gonna fall apart, you know. Like,
I think it's for recovery.
Yeah,
like,
it's not because they're trying to be like a bodybuilder. It's because they're just trying to get up and be recovered to train more the next day.
That's what, you know. Honestly, like I kind of wrote like a blog post about like steroids and shit, and you know, Anderson Silva got popped for steroids after he had his leg injury, and I was like, he probably did it because he was in his late 30s or early 40s, and he was trying to recover. Yeah. And I think he was trying to regain. And I think there's a place and time for steroids. I don't think, obviously, if you're, you know, for recovery and things like that, I think it's
maybe
it's
for
there.
recovery.
I think it's there. I think it's necessary if you train a lot, or you know, if you have a severe injury and you want to get back to, you know, prior, you know, where you were. I think it's fine.
If it's for personal reasons, I have nothing against steroids. Like, if you're a bodybuilder, I like seeing these freakish.
Yeah.
I like. It's just a thing. I just like I like seeing like freaky bodybuilding.
No,
I think it looks cool.
It's fun.
I think it looks cool seeing someone ballooned up with their veins popped. I think it looks cool. You know, I could never do that. I would just so if they want to get juiced up, go ahead, because it's entertainment for me to look at. You know.
Yeah.
They're probably dead by the time they're 45. But
my thing is with like the stuff. Like, I wish they would do, instead of acting like it doesn't happen. You know, like, start studying this stuff to see what's going on with these guys' systems. You know, again, like, I understand, because you have this thing. This is the rules, and I understand. And you're right. If you say I'm doing these rules, then it is cheating. Absolutely.
It's cheating.
But I think that, like, some of these sports where you know these guys are doing stuff, like, they need to, like, do some studies on these guys long term. See what the hell's going on with their bodies. So this way you can, like, help these guys out later on in life, instead of just acting like it's not happening, like, because you know it's not happening. Like,
if they would have took a sample of the sweat at ADCC, how much?
Oh my God, dude.
How much roid you? I was looking at the sweat on the mat. I'm like, you should probably someone could just take
just
the
straight
sweat,
oil,
inject that sweat into you, and come out looking like a bodybuilder.
I mean, you know, and it's such a shit. It's a hard thing for people like us that aren't in that upper, like, small little percentage of sport, whether it be, you know, whatever sport it might be, football, ADCC, whatever, where someone's like, hey man, like, you're like right here, and like, again, everybody else is doing it too, and you know, you probably take it to another level if you just start doing this stuff. Like, you could train a little bit more. You could, like, it's not even about like, hey man, you're gonna be jacked. It's gonna be, hey man, you can just get back on the mats and train harder next day, or you can get up and go for your run in the morning. You're not gonna be super sore. You can get up and do whatever. You know, you're gonna have more energy for training, whatever that is. And then it's like, do you take it? You know what I mean? Like, it's a hard thing for those athletes, because again, they put so much into that stuff, and that's their livelihood. And you know, and it's again, like, and everybody. And if you say that you will not do this, you're lying. You will do things in your life to try to get ahead. And if you don't get caught, you're like, sweet, all right, I'm good. Like you'll try to weasel whatever system you're a part of, whether that be in like a corporate system where you're trying to get that big promotion, you know, or like where you're trying to look good in front of the boss or whatever, and you're trying to like maybe undermine someone, you know, or whatever it is that you're doing, or you're trying to like again get ahead because you're trying to train harder in a sport. Like you're going to try to do your best with your abilities, and people will always try to like skim the system as best they can to get by, you know, to get as much as they can out of it. You know, just humans are we're opportunistic. You know,
Humans are assholes.
they are assholes. We are
We're
a bunch of
assholes. We're assholes. That's what
Definitely assholes.
Do we have any questions online? Anybody ask?
let's do it.
Oh, here, let's ask them.
All right,
Ask-
questions.
What's
We have
that?
any Q&A?
Make sure you ask.
How many people we got right now?
40?
Oh, cool. Hey, guys, so if you have any questions for me, for Mr. Jiu-Jitsu, Mike, or for Eugene, or for Chad, throw them in there, and we'll read them off, and we'll give you some answers. Mine will be long-winded, as always. Mike's will be straight to the
Chewy's will
point.
be
Mike
something-
keeps it real, and
Mike
talk
will
too
tell you're
much.
an asshole. Chewy will probably say that the Romans did something.
well, you got to hate on history.
Man, I don't know. I'm just saying. I'll probably say something rehab related.
The Romans are badass.
Chad, I don't know what you would do.
Yeah, I don't know what I would do either. I do everything.
We got questions?
Got a few people asking where the gym is.
The
Where's
gym,
Dirty Dixie.
Derby City Mixed Martial Arts, is located in Louisville, Kentucky.
Dirty Dixie Highway.
Come visit us.
Dixie Highway.
No mat fees.
Dixie Highway is the best. You get everything.
You get a little
You get a
smorgasbord.
little
of
everything.
everything.
Smorgasbord of people.
You get people that want to fight UFC. You get people that.
Man, I'm gonna tell you what, man. I won't get in there and fight UFC. I'm gonna take it to the top.
You want these comic books?
I wish we had a cameraman and all the
Comic
people that
books?
have come in, like and like done their little thing.
Can we
Oh,
interview?
God.
Can you start interviewing people? Have a GoPro.
You got one?
You guys can make that.
Let's go.
You
All
got,
right, Maddie.
you got a
Alright,
question? Please read
How
it.
long has Mr. Jiu-Jitsu been a black belt?
2 years. And that blows people's minds away.
2 years.
2 years.
Who gave you your
22.
black belt?
My coach James Terlecki, me and him been training. We used to train in the '90s together at the Gracie Academy in Cleveland.
Trained
He gave
in
me
the
my black
90s.
belt. I know.
The '90s. You're an old geezer.
I'm an old geezer. Yeah, and a lot of people are freaked out to hear that it took me that long to get my black belt. I'm just a slow learner.
Why do you think?
Well, and you get it too. You get it.
But
You-
I also travel a lot. I travel
Yeah.
a lot for work, and I probably could have got my belt earlier. I kind of was like, I wanted to make sure I was ready. I stayed a long time at each belt because I just didn't feel ready.
when you get it, you like it doesn't really matter. It's like it matters, but it doesn't matter. You know, it's like when I get it, it's fine.
I wish I was still a purple belt.
I
So I could stand back at tournaments.
I always thought about that. If I could just go back.
Go back
and
to
do a
white belt or
tournament.
something.
White belt, yeah.
I'll be the phenom.
White belt world champion.
Someone asked if you two were holding hands.
Yeah.
Maybe we
If not,
are.
you should be.
Interlock fingers.
You have a problem with that?
They're
huh?
life
No,
partners.
they're
You guys shouldn't hate.
Hey, accept it.
They're encouraged.
What kind of question is that?
I like
That's
that.
a terrible question.
I like
It's
that.
the internet, man. This is how this thing works.
Well, there haven't been a whole lot of questions. It's been a whole lot of like trolling. and
Trolling? What have they been
Give me
doing?
some trolls.
Give me some good trolls. We'll respond
Oh,
to the
I
trolls.
can't read some of
You
Yes,
can
you
Read
can.
them. Read them.
Here.
You want me to read it?
Yeah, I'll read.
Chewy, get over here.
these. It was by one specific person.
Uh-oh.
A bunch of people were reporting them, so I don't know if
No
Don't
liabilities.
report them.
No liabilities. What'd they say?
My girlfriend said you better not hold my hand again.
Get over it. I'll do what I want.
there were a lot of fighting.
Let's see here. Layla, tell your I'm stop calling me no more way my dick is throbbing.
What is this?
The entire time, it's
Oh.
just been this.
What are they talking about? Has it anything to do with the podcast?
No.
Wait, what's wrong?
Layla, do you even do jiu-jitsu or are you just a troll? Layla, calm your tits.
I love it.
That was Justin who asked if we were holding hands.
Who? Justin Court.
Justin Court.
Justin, I'll hold your hand.
God, that place is terrible.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. The
This is
entire
not even good
Trolls are
trolling.
worse
Not
than
the,
stuff.
no, it's just me and like the
Like,
past little
like
bit.
talking about us?
No.
Hey, I'll take offense to that.
Are you guys scared of North Korea starting World War III?
Are we scared of North Korea starting World War
I'll
III?
armbar the shit out of him.
What, with their one firecracker? What are they going to do? Did I just start a war?
You might have. You might have.
Do they have any real? Do they have any like
Yes,
real
they
weapons?
got
They
some
don't-
stuff.
What do they have?
They've got some tanks from World War II.
Is Derby City?
It's gonna be like one of those Ronald blockers. It won't even pop at the end. I don't believe they got shit. I'm sorry.
Oh
We're just
man.
playing videos of like stock footage of missiles. Check out our missile.
I know.
response.
It's I don't like seriously. What did they have? Like who's gonna put it together? They're starving.
All right, Nelson asks, what are the best things you can do off the mat to improve your jiu-jitsu on the mat?
Watch Jujitsu's page.
Yes.
That's the best way.
Off the mats, Chewy.
Go lift weights and go do some yoga.
Yoga.
If you
You
guys
have to
are
reiterate the question because I don't know if they can.
Oh, so for you guys that asked the question, what should you do off the mat to, help yourself on the mat? I would say lift weights. I think if you do it the right way, like hip extension exercise to counteract the muscle imbalances, like hip extension exercises, things to force extension in the upper back, and do some yoga. Yoga's really good.
Yeah.
I do yoga like hot yoga like twice a week.
You're hot.
Whoops my ass, dude.
You're hot
You ever done hot yoga?
No.
It's brutal.
I've done yoga, but not hot yoga.
Dude, I'll lose like 8 pounds in every session. It's ridiculous.
Like Chewy said, think about jiu-jitsu posture, rounded, forward, everything tight in. So work on counteracting. I just tell people a simple rule is stretch the muscles that are tight, strengthen the muscles that are loose and weak. So simple.
I think about North Korea and their fake bombs.
Firecrackers.
They're firecracker bombs.
Oh,
They're jumping jacks.
Hey,
I mean,
dude.
they make firecrackers over there. What are they gonna make? A real bomb?
You gotta be careful though, man, because some of those firecrackers, that shit can get you.
Yeah.
I gotta be careful they don't
We had
try
a
to kill
4th
me.
of
I'm
July
gonna
party,
go home
somebody
tonight. There's gonna be
almost
some
died.
Secret Service guy. Something like that movie, The
it made
Interview.
North Korea?
I'm covering my face now.
Maddie, what you got?
If you guys were submission, what submission would you be?
Oh, it's easy. If we were submission, what submission would we be? Chow would be a triangle choke.
You'd be the meat stick choke.
I'll be a loop choke. Chewy, what would you be?
If I was,
You'd be a Kimura.
I'm a Kimura.
Kimura, what would your submission?
Banana split.
Banana split?
I want to change my answer to that.
What would you be? Alright. We're watching
We just got live video from North Korea. It just said, "Fuck you, Mr. Jiu-Jitsu." Look what we got.
They did the test. That was our 4th of July party where I almost blew everyone up.
It was awesome.
I'm
You were
gonna
running.
get- I'm gonna
out.
get assassinated.
You were running through the door. What you got, Maddie?
What do you guys do for warm-ups, for class, drills?
Nothing.
We don't do any warm-ups. We just start rolling.
Go for neck cranks
I'm not gonna lie, I don't warm
and
up.
can
my shit.
openers.
I don't really, unless you're a beginner, there's no need to do like the line drills. I think it's stupid. I don't know.
I think
like I personally, for me, like if I do some basic movement, just to, like, so one of the things I'll do is like we'll do bridges. I always do bridges because to activate the glutes.
Yes.
And some different stuff to like get the back to twist and turn and stuff like that to basically get the body prepped, and then from there I try to get just doing drills.
I agree with you 100%. Like I like really like movement drills are great. Light stretching, like where you're not prolonged holds, but light stretching, kind of working into the motion, more of a dynamic stretch. I just think movement's great. Flow rolling is actually, if you can have people that are controlled, they can flow roll, not go after each other. I think that's a great way to warm up too, and it opens things up, and you can see things. And
So which is nobody.
well,
Hey,
there's a few people.
Dude, me and you and I can
Yeah,
float
we
roll.
float roll.
John Salter and I, like we float rolled like really well.
Yeah.
Like we went like flow rolled one roll, flow. I can't speak. Flow rolled one round, and then afterwards we would be started just going at each other like gorillas.
Yeah.
Yeah, I pretend to warm up until it's time to roll. I do like this, like I'm pretending.
Yeah, he's over in the corner. Like,
I'll pretend to do like some real warm. Like, it's the time to roll. Then I just do it because I'm actually lazy.
I hardly ever
Not
warm
gonna lie,
up
I'm lazy.
before like.
hey, you can't even fucking run. You can't or
Well-
sidestep.
I don't know. I don't like warming up because
I'm not an athlete.
when I go to tournaments and stuff, I never know when the fuck I'm gonna go. It was like,
I'm
I mean,
constantly
even in
warming up.
IBJJF, they're like, you're gonna go at this time, and then it's like 20 minutes later. I'm like, cool, I warmed up. Now I'm cooled down. So I gotta get warmed up like halfway through the match.
See, I'm not athletic. Like some people do like this really cool warm ups, and I'm like, I'm not an athlete. I can't do those crazy.
You don't
I
have to
can
do
roll.
it. It's just a lot of movement stuff. A lot of it's just like getting those muscles
Yes.
kind of fired.
Well, a lot of it is me being super lazy too. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. It's like I mean, because again, everybody wants to go straight. It's like wants to go straight to the dessert. Like, let's go to roll. But the thing is like like I mean, I know from my own personal experience, most of the people that I've seen had like some serious nasty ass injuries. Typically, it's because they didn't warm up. Like I remember seeing the first ACL tear.
Hence me. It's
Like,
why I'm so injured.
like it was a guy who he came in late and he just jumped on the mat, and then it was like his first roll, like his ACL tore. I've even had several times where like I just was like running on the mat, I'm running late, and just jumped on the mat to roll and then like tweaked my shoulder. So for me, I know that like doing some basic stuff to like just move. It doesn't have to be like anything crazy. Just priming my back up to bend and twist, and then getting my knees, my hips moving, and then I'm good to go. And then we can just.
Well, it's like muscle. Like you're getting like tissue elasticity. Like if the tissue's tight, think about like if you're, it's just think about like something that's just not stretchy. If something has more give to it, you're less likely to injure.
I mean,
or tear it.
even like when I lift weights, it's like I don't like doing it. I'd like to just go start lifting weights, but like I do a pretty intense warm up, and honestly, my lifts are like if I do the warm up, my lifts are so much better. I'm like move better through the motions, and the actual my weight goes up.
Yeah, I think a lot of it's muscle memory. A lot of it's neurological, kind of just getting your.
What are you thinking over there, Chad?
Huh?
You got
Chad's like, I can't run, I can't sidestep, my knees hurt.
But I'm
everything's
22,
messed up. I'm
so
22,
fuck warm-ups.
but I can choke the shit out of people.
Warm-ups are for pussies.
There we go.
That's
what I've been saying.
There we go.
My
Fucking-
whole Jiu-Jitsu channel, is nothing. It's for pussies. Sorry.
I don't know.
Any more North Korea?
I think it's important.
No
Fire-
more North Korea.
I think it's important. I don't think people like to warm up.
I think
and do
warming up
shit
is
until-
for people who suck at jiu-jitsu. I don't know.
Okay, that's not true.
Chad's being a troll now.
I like it.
All right,
What else we got?
Someone said that a few days ago they got cauliflower ear,
perfect.
and they couldn't have anybody to drain it, and he said he had a friend try to do it, and he didn't think that she was doing it right. So what did they do?
So if you have cauliflower ear,
Don't drain it.
What's that?
Not good.
Yeah, don't drain it. Like, keep that stuff. Like, you've earned that. Like, God, it took me 8 years to get this. I was so happy when I finally got it. Like, I was like, yes, I finally get to join the club.
Didn't Ruslan say in Russia they'll go and like hit their ears with hammers to
Probably.
give them some
Oh,
cauliflower?
I've heard people send me
in Russia,
messages.
they'll do it.
How do I get cauliflower ear?
Yeah.
What do you say to them?
Get caught in guilty jokes?
Somebody was like, I want to train, but I don't want to get cauliflower. I was like, well, then you probably shouldn't train. I was like, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, if
He's
you
like,
don't
how do
wanna
I
get-
prevent
It's
it?
actually very painful when it first happens.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Sarah, you want it's actually bad for your hearing.
Huh?
It's actually not good for your hearing.
Huh?
It's not good for your hearing.
Okay.
He can't hear you. That's the joke.
Hey, speaking of hearing, are you squeamish? Like, are you...
Depends what I'm looking at.
I love watching Chewy.
This earwax.
What are we looking
Chewy, how
at
do you clean
first?
your ear?
Is it pornographic? Is it?
Check this out. This came out of my ear.
Oh God, looks like a.
What the?
It came out of my ear.
What the fuck is that?
Wait, let me see that again.
Yeah.
Looks like a jet bug.
It does, doesn't it? It
I
came out
thought
of
it
my
was
ear.
poop at first.
Looks like
I was
poop.
I know. It looks like cat poop. It came out of my ear.
Kapu.
So I went to the.
What the fuck?
I know. Hey, look how long that is. I went to.
How
the,
did you get it? Did you get the wax?
No,
Or
so
what's
it's
up?
I went to the.
He's got some.
It looks like a piece of poop, like a little tiny one.
I went to the.
Poked in your ear, Chewy.
I don't know, little mice or something. I went to the doctor today to get my routine blood work done, which all you guys over 30 should do. And I was getting him to look over everything.
Get your prostate.
Hey, man, like you guys can say what you want
I've
to,
never
but
done that.
but like I get my blood work done just to see how the machine's running. I'm always like, because I'll add vitamins to
See,
it.
that's
and
an
stuff.
See, the difference: athlete, fake athlete, athlete, fake athlete.
I just want to know how the machine's running because if I start eating better, or I want to see what it does to it. Like I feel better, but like, what does that do to my baseline levels? Like, what's happening underneath this foot? Man, when you get older, you'll understand. But anyway, so I said, "Hey, man,
I am older, and I still
I'm
don't
talking to
understand
him.
it. I still don't understand it.
Man, I just want to know what's going on with it." Because you can find some pretty interesting stuff where you like say, "Oh, I have a vitamin deficiency. Well, let me like tweak that vitamin up, and that'll actually I'll feel better now." You know, like I mean, because there's like a lot of people go by and they're like, "I'm just getting older."
See,
I'm
I gotta
tired."
spend a month with Chewy.
You know,
I would
Chewy,
get
I
healthy.
think
I
you
would
can
get
do
good
that by
at jiu-jitsu.
taking a rectal temperature.
You want to take it for me? We take it with your tongue. You're warm.
Inappropriate.
Yeah. But so I told the doctor, I was like, hey man, I feel like I can't, like I feel like there's something in my ear, you know, and it's happened before like that. I don't know why.
Maybe my ear.
But they
Look how tiny his ear holes are.
They went in there, man, and all he's like doing that, And he got excited. He goes, "Oh man, this is gonna be like the highlight of my day." He gets in there and like pulls it out, and I mean, dude, he was huge.
Did it hurt when it came out?
It felt like my ear was getting burst.
Who said
It looked like your ear.
It felt like pressure, and all of a sudden,
But you felt better.
oh my god! Like, dude, my hearing, like it's almost like no kidding, like it's like I didn't.
Now I want to get my ears checked.
I didn't realize that like I had been hearing like this in like a muffled form for like the last couple of months, and now I'm like in like surround sound stereo. Can't speak surround sound stereo.
I love when Chewy tries to put like little headphones in his ears.
Yeah, that doesn't work. I
Those are like they always like stick out. It's hilarious.
I got little bitty ears, man.
You got a little bit of ear holes.
I got little bitty ears.
got
Dude, look how
little
big they're like this big.
It's funny how everyone gets. It's like a fingerprint. Everyone's cauliflower is a little bit different. Like
Yeah.
mine's different than yours.
What's
Everyone's
that?
got a little bit.
If you could compete
Mine's
against
a little bit
anybody.
different.
What's the next question, Maddie?
I want more North Korea.
So, guys, if you have some more North Korea questions, or
Our
Mike wants-
expert on
our expert on North Korean
I know
affairs wants
everything
to
that's going
answer.
on there. I know deep in their military. I know all their secrets. Everyone, we're good to go. Do not panic.
Okay. How would you deal with feeling discouraged about people not wanting to roll with you because of your size and lack of experience?
Tell them to quit being pussies.
How would you deal with people being discouraged for not wanting to roll with you because of your size?
Well, first off, make sure you don't smell, because that could be a problem. We've had people where they wouldn't roll with people because they smell bad.
Yeah, it's terrible.
But
I've done that. I don't want to
Yeah.
roll somebody who smells like
honestly,
onions.
it's hard
Onions?
to say because if you're just you, I don't know. It depends on the gym. Like to me, it's like just roll whatever. But like I don't know.
I think bigger people, they have to make the first steps. You have to tell
Let's slow down a little bit.
I actually made a post about this a couple weeks ago. I tell if people aren't rolling with you because you're a bigger person, there's some keywords you can say. Be like, hey guys, I just want to work for my back today. I just want to work sweeps today. I just want to be on the bottom. You can throw out some keywords out there that you might entice some smaller people to come in. Be like, hey, I just want to work on my half guard today. I don't want to be on top. And like if I sweep you, let's just start again. You might get some smaller guys to roll with you. You have to throw out some keywords out there.
Yeah,
Because you're the one looking for the partner, so ultimately you have to step up and say something. These are and
it's so hard because in the beginning, like you were talking about this earlier, like in the beginning you have to kind of, it takes time to develop that ability to relax, and it's with anyone. Like I've never rolled with someone on the very first day within the very first month and they felt like super relaxed. Everybody's kind of like spazzing, they weird and they move weird and stuff like that. I think as a big guy, you just have to be way more conscious of like you said, you got to be willing to like play from those positions, but you just got to be more conscious of where you're at because again, if you fall on like some 130 pounder and you're like 270, there's some consequences there where you could actually hurt them. So you got to be very conscious of that and make sure that you keep your partner's safety in mind. What were you laughing over there? They got a good one.
what else?
If Kim Jong-un and Vladimir Putin had a jiu-jitsu match, who would win and how?
Mike?
Oh, hands down, Vladimir. Doesn't he do judo?
He does
too?
judo.
Yeah.
If
He
King Jong
would-
was it Un?
He would fuck him and his fade up. Dude, Vladimir would destroy him.
Right off on
wouldn't be a match.
valiant steed.
He'd be out of breath too. But he'd be all out of breath.
It's the same Putin.
Putin, of course it's Putin.
Putin.
I mean, like,
Putin was KGB, man.
and I mean, like,
That dude is out. What's his name? Kim Jong, whatever.
Kim Jong he's
that
a-
dude's out of breath in 30 seconds.
he's a port.
The
He-
freaking
he's
North Korea
mounted, he's
expert
like,
doesn't even know the
"Yeah."
name of the.
Yeah, I'm
Dude.
sorry.
North Korea.
Yeah, he's out of breath in 30 seconds, getting destroyed. So.
That'd be awesome. That'd be cool to make the presidents just fight at least one day. One day.
Look
of
at
the
our
year.
president. If he fights, oh god, that'd be terrible.
Someone ripped his wig off.
I don't think it's a wig. I think it's real. I think his hair's real.
Probably is, but still.
But it's not. It's real, but it's like it's flipped around and
Yeah.
bird nested, right? Right?
It's something, man.
It's
Oh my god.
What is it, Maddie? What's the next
I
one?
was just laughing.
Oh, okay.
Tyler, he sent in this question quite a few times.
Okay.
Tyler, all right.
Does the love of jiu-jitsu ever become quite painful? Do you think there's a fear of success when it comes to the art form?
Fear of success.
Yeah.
So is the love of jiu-jitsu painful, and is there
interesting
fear of success?
Yeah.
Painful in what way though? Like I mean, like does it hurt because you love jiu-jitsu and you're like getting injured?
Oh, he wants to succeed.
or painful because that you're
You're wanting
dedicating
to
all your time to it.
Yeah.
And
Wants to succeed so bad in it.
But see, that's when you get in your own way. You got to know, like, you got to have a goal and say, like, man, I want to push it, I want to get better, I want to win tournaments, whatever. But like, you can't fixate on that stuff because you have no control over that.
Tyler, I don't like your question.
I mean,
Okay.
if we're saying
confusing me, that's why I don't.
I'm confused by
Tyler,
the
you
question.
confuse the shit out of me. Write it again, Tyler.
Write it again,
Tyler, and write it better.
Elaborate.
Yeah, elaborate on what you mean by the pain, because I'm going to go off on some tangent.
It's
I
all
want
right,
to make
man.
sure that if I'm going to do this, at least
good.
it's some use to you. Because I'll go off.
Sorry, Tyler. You gotta take a mulligan. Redo that shit.
Do you want to come back to it?
Your
then?
second
Yeah, we'll
question.
go back
What's
to
the next
Tyler.
one? What's the next one?
Mr. Jiu-Jitsu.
In a world where Tyler's question is being reiterated, we wait.
I need to find another.
You have a really good like movie voice.
In one world.
You do. You got a movie voice. He's got a country voice.
Yeah. I'll be a country singer.
He's got.
Somebody told me to be a country
Can
singer.
I hear your country voice?
Chad, can you sing?
I don't know. Everybody says I have a country voice.
Are you,
I don't
what
think
did
I
you?
have I got the
Taekwondo.
voice
Say
for it.
Taekwondo again. You said it earlier. Say it again.
Taekwondo.
Taekwondo.
No,
Say
but wait.
normally.
No.
What, taekwondo?
See, it's
Taekwondo.
Got, Taekwondo.
He puts it wrong and
It could be a
fast.
country song. I taekwondoed you. Is
Is that a real song?
No, just.
Oh, okay.
You never heard that?
That could be a hit.
Taekwondo.
You could have got me over. I'm like,
Taekwondo.
it's this big country
He
song.
just has a
You
very
say
country voice.
taekwondo.
It's very.
Sure.
It's very.
Taekwondo.
It's
It's very
taekwondo.
romantic.
Taekwondo.
Very romantic.
I see why your girlfriend loves you. It's very.
It's awesome.
I would love you too with that voice.
Do you have any rituals or preparation you do before a competition to get rid of anxiety?
I take a pregame dump.
I was about to say that.
Oh my god.
Put the back rub
Mr.
out.
Jiu-Jitsu, would you please verbalize your
Masturbate.
Just knock one out
3
of the back
times.
room.
It relieves stress, pressure.
I honestly, in all seriousness, I have a game plan and I go through that game plan in my head. Like plan A, plan B, plan C. That's kind of what I do.
Us.
And I also take a lot of, I go to the bathroom a lot beforehand.
Yeah,
if I'm
everybody goes to the
nervous.
bathroom.
I say, fuck it. Whatever happens, happens. I don't have control. I'm just going to go out there and do it.
I think, honestly, I've grown to enjoy the anxiety because, like, you go through your life day to day and you do not get that feeling. That feeling does not pop up. But then when you're getting ready to compete and all of a sudden you feel your friggin' guts are starting to brew up and you're like, you're getting all like amped. Your heart starts boom, 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 boom. Like, man, that's awesome. It makes me feel alive. It makes me feel alive. I remember, like, before fights, I would think that because I'm getting ready to go out there, my friggin' body's primed up to do something. Like, you just don't feel like that on any normal day, right? And it's like, man, I feel alive. Like there's still something in me. If I went to because there was a time where I went to a tournament and I wasn't nervous because I did a mixed martial arts fight. And so I was doing a jiu-jitsu fight. I was like, whatever. I'm just going to compete jiu-jitsu. I'm not going to get knocked out. And then I went in there and I was so flat and I got caught real quick. And I was like, Jesus, man, like I was off. And then so for me, like I want to be anxious because if I'm anxious, then my body's going to like be on it's going to make me rise up to another level.
If you're not nervous, you don't care about it enough.
Yeah, something's wrong.
Do you think there's a point where, like, I mean, how do you control that nervousness though, or that
You
anxiety?
compete more and you get used to it. You got to desensitize yourself to it. It's just like anything else. It's like the first time you like. I mean, do you when you came to the gym, you probably at one point or another were coming to the gym like, all right, I'm getting ready to train.
Yeah.
All right,
sure.
like because you're like, but cause especially when you first came here, like there's a bunch of like killers in here, and you were new to the gym, and you were like you were green belt, like green belt, like a good white belt. It's a good white belt. Hold on,
What's a green belt? What's a green belt?
Hey man, we
go
did
to
green belts at
intermediate.
my
It's a
gym.
kid's belt.
But but you're coming to the gym because I know that when I first came here, I was like, because I was at another gym back in the day, and then like I came to this gym, and the two gyms were rivals, and so I came in here, it was like going into like freaking the little Lions Den, man. Like everybody was like, Chewy's here, like he was like from the enemy, and so I remember like when I first came here, we were fighting still, and so we get in those cages, we do like full sparring rounds, and we're beating the shit out of each other. I remember like getting to driving to the gym, getting all right, we're gonna get going, but over time you get desensitized to it, so it's the same thing with competition. You just got to compete and you get used to it. Get used to competing and moving around in those conditions.
Yeah, I think the same thing. When I wasn't training as much because I was working. I mean, I was still training a lot, but not as much as I am now. I would throw up before every tournament because I wasn't competing as often. And then this year, I think I've competed probably 12 times already. In the last 4 tournaments, I'm like, meh, just went out there and
you actually, I think you've eaten at one.
yeah, actually eating
You've
some
eaten.
food and.
It's a big deal.
Didn't you like a burrito for a tournament or something?
This asshole before a big competition. So this is on like, again, no sleep for 48 hours. He comes in. We had this big in-house tournament here, and like, you know, Dustin Ware was running a big tournament here, and he had this big match against this really tough dude, Robbie, and him and all the guys, they weighed in, and they all thought it would be a great idea to go to this brunch place called Wild Eggs, and they all got breakfast burritos, and like, I'm not talking about like a little small, I'm talking about like a big like hoss-ass burrito. And then obviously, as soon as he got here, threw it up. I'm like, what are you thinking? Everything.
I've done this.
Brian
It's
threw
a
up.
bad idea before you compete.
Brian and Braden both threw up too, didn't they?
I don't know. Mine was so bad. Like, we pulled up and as soon as we got there, and I was like, let me out. They're like, what? So I opened it and I ran as far away from him as possible and threw up all over the parking lot.
Feel better than
And I came back in and everybody was just looking at me. I was like, oh. I don't know. Plus, I didn't sleep, so it was that.
Dan asks, should we panic about North Korea?
Should we panic?
No, they don't have real weapons. They have firecrackers. That's all they got. They got jumping jacks. They got sparklers. They don't have anything. There's nothing. It's all fake news. There's nothing that they have.
Oh my god.
So no, you're good to go.
Mr. Jiu-Jitsu says you're okay.
You're good to go. You're not gonna die for sparklers. You're fine.
Might get burned.
Tyler reworded it.
Been waiting for this, Tyler.
You might get burned a little
All right.
bit.
Been waiting for this question.
I guess BJJ primarily relies on the optimum function of your body.
Not true.
An injury can take you out for 3 months, 6 months, or even forever. At any point, one day it will end. What you love ends. How do you deal with the pain of realizing this?
Everything's going to end, brother. One day you're going to kick the bucket. That's just the way it is. And as far as injuries go, again, going back to what he was saying, like, you got guys with no legs, no arms, and they're still doing jiu-jitsu. That's a choice. If you decide you don't want to do it anymore and it takes you away from it, that's a choice.
I don't like your question. I don't like it again. Sorry, Tyler. I don't like it again. All I heard was excuse. That's all I heard. So no.
Yeah, I mean, you'll find a way to train, even if, like, when I was going with Chewy, his fat ass fell on me and popped my whole hip out a place, and I was back in here the next week.
Why you gotta call me fat, dude? Come on.
Well, you were at the time.
I wasn't that fat. I was
Eating a
normal.
lot.
He's sensitive about it.
He popped my hip out of place.
We're hurting feelings today. I mean, it's getting deeper with Chad.
Chad is
Chad
turning into Mr. Jiu-Jitsu
He's
Junior.
being an asshole.
Yeah, it happens.
But go back to what you were saying after you called me a fat ass and I broke your hip.
I was back on the mat
No,
the
it's not
next
my
week.
fault you fucking fold in half and you need to keep your damn leg in front. Like, hey guys, who wants to roll? Yeah, come on. Fucking get down here.
Chewy, put your beer. One beer? You had like a third of a beer.
I had a third of the beer. I had like a friggin'
had a sip.
I had a sip.
Drunk already.
Yeah, right.
What else we got?
But
Chad didn't even get his point across. Go ahead, Chad.
No, go ahead.
I'll shut
Chad,
the
your point sucks.
I'll
yeah,
shut
my
up.
point sucks.
No, go ahead. Just make your point. I'll shut up.
I already forgot. It's okay.
Chewy, what did you do before being a full-time instructor?
I worked in IT.
Reiterate.
You gotta make something.
Oh, excuse me. So before I was doing jiu-jitsu full time and teaching, I would typically it was a seasonal job. I would go down to the Florida Everglades and wrestle gators. God, I got nothing.
Now we're talking.
Now we're going, huh?
That's all you got?
Wrestle the gators and I'd skin them and bring back the skins and
Nope.
sell. No, okay. I worked in IT.
Nerd.
So, fucking hated it.
You see Chewy, just big gorilla sitting behind a desk.
But, you know, it's funny. It's like you would go into work and you'd be sitting in your cubicles and stuff, working on stuff, and guys, you know, they'd come in, they'd be like just super tired, you know, and you know, I was tired from training or something, and then these guys would come moseying. I'm like, man, everything all right? And like, oh yeah, dude, long night. And I was like, and I remember one time I was like, oh yeah, long night, man. And I was thinking he was with his girlfriend or something. I was like, yeah, let's get you a long night. He goes, yeah, I was playing WoW all night, World of Warcraft. I was like,
Wow.
fuck. It's like I have nothing to talk to with you guys.
You don't play WoW?
No.
Wow, I can't believe you don't play WoW.
What else we got? Keep 'em
Um,
rolling.
have you ever had to use BJJ on the street to keep anyone from fighting, you or anyone else, asking all 4 dudes?
Have you ever had to use BJJ on the street to keep people from fighting?
To keep people from fighting?
Or
Just, like,
fight.
for
Yeah.
Or defend yourself.
I've done it before a couple times. Yeah.
Go ahead.
One of my really good buddies, his name's Dalton. He was getting ready to get punched from behind. Him and this kid, they didn't like each other in high school, and they would always talk shit to each other. They hated each other. But one day he was getting ready to come up and hit my friend from behind, and Dalton was like my best friend in high school. So I saw it and I ran up and put him in a rear naked choke. I was like, "You touch him, I'll fucking kill you." It was probably not the right thing to do, but I wasn't gonna let him hit my friend from behind. You know, so like I went up, put him in a choke, stopped the fight.
Why wasn't
Ever
the right
since
thing
that-
to do?
Well, I mean, to say what I said. I don't know. When I get really mad, I just say stuff. So,
Chad made him go night-night.
yeah. I was like, oh, fuck you.
I think, like...
Have you ever been in a fight outside, bro?
I haven't, man. I kind of avoid it, I guess. I've never really been one to get into fights.
You didn't
but,
grow up in the hood.
Pussy.
Thank you. But no, man, I kind of, like, I don't really... I mean, I don't look for it. I don't know. Maybe I don't put myself in that situation. I don't hang out in the hood. I don't know. I haven't, and I don't feel like...
That's surprising.
Why?
I don't know. You just have a look.
Look.
You look like someone that, like, you know.
She get punched in the face.
I mean, if I was gonna look for someone to punch in the face if I was at a bar, I would look at you like that's the dude.
All right.
You're the dude to get punched in the face.
No, but I have not. But I do feel, you know, I think somebody that we've talked about this a lot, basic jiu-jitsu would, I think knowing basic jiu-jitsu would help you in a street fight. Let's just end it at that.
What about you, Mike?
I have gotten. When I drink, I get what do they call it? Blackout drunk, so I don't remember. But I guess I have used jujitsu, according to my friends.
But you don't remember.
They told me that I was like on the ground rolling and stuff, but I was blacked-out drunk. Because when I drink, I can't stop drinking for some reason. I just keep drinking and drinking and drinking and drinking. I have a problem.
And
I drink like once a year, but when I do drink that one time a year, I get blackout drunk.
And I've used jiu-jitsu in a fight as well. You can go watch my video on it. Jiu-jitsu, BJJ, and street fight. Something like that. And it's a long video talking about other stuff.
Me and Chewy grew up in the hood, had to fight every day. My bus, there was literally...
At least he knew
There's a
jiu-jitsu
fight.
back then.
Yeah.
I didn't know jiu-jitsu back then. I was just like hanging on. Like jiu-jitsu would have been awesome to have back in the day.
Oh my god, if I was jiu-jitsu.
My bus, everybody had to sit like this, like facing the side. Because if you were standing behind, somebody come up and just clock you in the head.
God.
And there's
No, Kentucky was that rough.
it is.
Hell.
If you were from, I was
Detroit, Kentucky. What the hell?
I was born. I mean, I was
I got-
super poor, so I grew up in like this terrible area. And I swear, if you would turn around, someone would come up and just hit you in the side of the head,
I got
and then
jumped
it'd be
over
the whole
street
bus
in seventh
fighting.
grade. Yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah.
You did a video about that too, didn't you?
Mm-hmm. I'll talk about when I got
Chewy, you running out of stuff to talk about, man.
I got plenty of stuff to talk
You're
about.
doing everything.
Yeah, I had two people when I was walking home from my bus. I always kept my earphones in because I grew up in the hood. You know, I want to listen to really loud music, and then somebody runs up behind you and starts beating the shit out of you. So I just had my headphones in, and I hear footsteps running, and I'm like, "Fuck!" I was almost home. That's all I could think. I was like, "God damn it!" So I turned around, and these two people are jumping or just running as fast as they can at me. And then they stop like right at me, and I'm like, I already got my hands up, you're ready to fight. They're like, give me your backpack. And I'm poor. I'm like, I'm not giving up my shit. So I just started fighting both of them at the same time. And this lady's like screaming, like, I'm gonna call the cops on you guys. I was like, I don't care. I was like, these guys ain't taking my backpack. I was like, I worked hard because I worked at the gym to make the little money that I had. And I bought that backpack. I was like, I'll give my life for this backpack.
You like the
So I'm
M&M
sitting there
version
fighting
of
both of
Jiu-Jitsu.
them. They took off running, and I'm like,
They weren't getting that Hello Kitty backpack.
yeah, nah, I was my Power Ranger backpack. Damn it.
Power Ranger backpack?
How do you feel about the IBJJF rules? I think you talked about it, but not everyone.
How do I feel about how do we feel about the IBJJF rules?
As opposed to sub only.
As opposed to so okay. How do I feel about IBJJF rules opposed to sub-only? It depends on the sub-only event, but I like it all. I mean, I think that, again, like Mike was talking about earlier, when you have points involved, I think in general you get a sense of urgency because someone doesn't want to lose. Now you do get people that will stall on a point, but you get the same thing in a sub-only match where guys don't really go for it and they don't really go after it. So I think it always comes back to the competitor. The only thing I don't like about sometimes with the IBJJF rules is if you're going to allow the 50-50, I think you should just go ahead and allow heel hooks. Because it's like people get tangled up in that position and there's no like we were talking about earlier. You get in a 50-50 and you can basically just teeter-totter each other, and then it's like you get stuck there. To me, it's like either let them do heel hooks or almost have like a mandatory like restart back on the feet. Like, okay, like you guys have because they have it in the guard where they'll start deducting basically like giving advantages and stuff like that if they don't do something for stalling. So I think that if you're going to have the 50-50, you don't have heel hooks allowed, okay, you got a minute or something, 30 seconds, whatever it is, to make something happen. And if it doesn't happen, boom, restart for position instead of just, wasting, because it sucks. Like, I remember, what was it? Buchecha and Urbith were there in the Worlds, and two amazing grapplers, and you were super excited, and they just got tangled up there. And then there's a point where I think it was like Buchecha's just kind of like sitting there on the mat, like I can't just let him get out of this position, but at the same time, I don't want to be here. I just break him off. What do you think, Mike? I'm talking.
Well, you know what? I do like IBJJF rules, except I wish they did have the heel hooks. I think they should get rid of the reaping. I don't think it's that dangerous. But I'll tell you this: if you know nothing about jiu-jitsu, and if I had to pick one style for you to watch, I may pick EBI rules because you're going to see a guaranteed winner at the end. You're going to see more. So I like either EBI or fight to win, something with at least because people want to see some sort of finale. They want to see somebody win at the end, and they want to see like a jiu-jitsu match. They want to understand that guy won by an advantage. Like, what just happened here? So if you know nothing about jiu-jitsu, I might steer you your first match to be an EBI or a fight to win.
I can see that.
As you get into the game, check out IBJJF, check out the points and why intricate these points, and how they work. So I think if you know nothing about jiu-jitsu, I may steer you, hey, check out this EBI match, check out this fight to win, something like that. So,
and I think that's one of the things that's really cool about jiu-jitsu because, like the judo, for instance, the IJF, right, the International Judo Federation, they umbrella judo. And so basically, if you're doing a tournament, these are the rules. And I'm glad that we don't have that because then you have that creativity where you can say, we got the EBI, we've got the fight to win, we've got the IBJJF, we've got the Metamorphosis, we've got all these different versions of the same stuff that we've kind of, picked our own rules up, So I like
well, and you got gi and no-gi as well, and that, and you got to see how that translates to guys that are, really solid in the gi, how they do a no-gi and vice versa. That's where, ADCC was fun to watch, Gordon Ryan, because he does primarily, no-gi stuff. And it was fun
he said that this coming year, all he's going to do is gi. So he's changing it up because he wants to be the best in the world. So.
It's sweet as well as a challenge himself. That's a hard challenge. That's a hard
transition.
Gi is a
lot more.
I believe it's at the point right now where gi and no gi are two different sports.
Yeah,
they're two different sports. They're two different martial arts. They're two different things. They're just the grips and the way you move. It's all very different.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much. Variability as far as like using the gi and the grips. You're right.
But look at Pena. He just won the absolute and the gi. So.
Yeah, I think they
both. I think you got to train 50-50. You got to train.
Yeah, I think they both translate.
Yeah. If you start favoring one more than the other, then you're gonna.
Well, I think if you're game, if you end up becoming one of those people that like you favor, like say like I'm gonna grab the lapel and like wrap it around here and stuff, and that's what you depend on. Well, then when you go to no-gi, then all of a sudden you're like, oh, there's no lapel here.
Which happens to me. I'm very lapel.
Yes.
My whole game is with lapels. That's why I'm not that great at no-gi because it's very hard. I miss. Yeah. So yeah, it makes sense.
I was practicing worm guard for like 3 weeks, a little while back, before I started doing all the no-gi tournaments and stuff. Then I went back to no-gi. I was sad.
I know. And I love worm guard too. I love worm guard. I love wrapping my feet up with lapels. Yeah.
All right, man. We'll get a couple more in, and then we'll.
There's been a few questions asking where everyone is from.
We'll start with you. So, where is everyone from? Start with you, Mike.
Youngstown, Ohio.
Louisville, Kentucky.
I'm from Belarus. Russia, actually. From Russia, originally. I've been here forever.
I was born in Bloomington, Indiana, but I moved to Louisville, Kentucky when I was 7.
Is that it?
I know those are good.
Sorry, I didn't know if you guys were going. Any advice on hitting a wall and feeling like you aren't making any progress? 3-stripe white belt I want to compete soon. That's from Brian.
Hitting a wall when training. We talked about this. Basically, choose something to work on, whether it's your guard, closed guard, open guard, and try to work on that for a certain amount of time. And I mean that's really just giving yourself direction. Don't just go out there and just kind of just roll. I think finding something to work on, a direction to go into, like say, like Chewy, you had talked about a specific pass or a specific, position. Work on that, see how many sweeps you get or how many submissions you get, and kind of keep track of that and take notes on that. I think
And I've rambled on so many times about this. Mike, you want
Yes.
to throw anything in there? No.
Hitting a wall with training, honest God, it's just like you just got to break through. You just got to keep plugging at it. It's one of those. It's a struggle. It's that struggle we were talking about. That's part. You're supposed to struggle. You're supposed to hit walls when you're training, especially in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. You're supposed to hit walls. You're supposed to be frustrated. That's all part of the. That's all part of the plan. That's the design of Jiu-Jitsu. It's walls. It's frustration. It's failures. That's what it is. And eventually, if you can stay long enough for that stuff, there is light at the end of the tunnel.
Well, and kind of going off what he's saying, like, when you if you're in jiu-jitsu, you're 3-sharp white belt, so you've probably been doing it for a bit. You probably have watched lots of videos. You probably talked to your coaches. You've probably seen other black belts talk. Nobody ever told you this stuff was going to be easy, and now that it's getting hard, now you're like, oh man, I'm getting frustrated. What did you expect? Right? This is what you signed up for. No one ever said jiu-jitsu, oh, this is so easy. It's so you never get injured. It never hurts. You just keep going, and it's super easy. No, it's like you knew it was going to be hard. Now that it's hard, you're kind of, getting second thoughts. Just push through it.
Or just quit.
Don't quit. Don't quit. Don't let Mike make you quit. Last one.
All right, make it good.
How long have we been talking?
2 hours.
Wow.
Guys, give us a good one. It's the last one for the evening.
How did everyone get started in martial arts?
That is a really good one.
How did everyone get started in martial arts? Sure. Mike, you're the guest.
Rewind the video to the beginning.
Blockbuster.
And I talk about I started Blockbuster, 1996, armbar 3 weeks later. We're here right now. So I started in 1996 after watching a Blockbuster video, UFC 4.
I started wrestling in high school, and from there I wanted to compete afterwards because there was no wrestling team at the college that I went to. So I started doing jiu-jitsu, then I wanted to fight mixed martial arts, and then just kind of kept going from there.
My dad would actually similar to Blockbuster story, UFC 6, Oleg Taktarov,
Taktarov,
the
yeah.
Russian Bear, is my
Tank
dude.
Abbott.
He won. Did he win that?
Mm-mm.
No, who won that?
Tank beat him. Or no, he beat Tank Abbott. He beat
Choked
him.
out Tank.
Yeah, he choked out Tank, but I remember Tank got right up and he was in there
Match,
like
yeah.
he was just dead. It was up
Yeah,
in Colorado. They were like super high elevation.
I would watch that. That was one that we would always watch. Like my dad and I would always watch Bruce Lee and Jean-Claude Van Damme movies, which is a big inspiration for me. And then one of my buddies from high school said he did wrestling at a gym, and so I told him I'd go with him to because he said taught wrestling at a jiu-jitsu gym, and I ended up calling him. He wasn't there. He didn't pick up, so I went by myself, and I had my first class with David Riley, and now I'm here.
I moved to Louisville, Kentucky when I was 7 years old, and my first day of school, I got punched right in my nose, and I kind of just stood there and looked dumbfounded. I didn't know what to do. I'd never been punched before, and I was like, oh shit. And the kid, he hit me like 3 times, and I was like, alright. So I went home. I wasn't even going to tell my dad, but the principal already called my dad and told him that I got hit because my nose was all like swollen and stuff. And that day, my dad took me to a taekwondo school because It was the cheapest place that we could find. Like I said, I grew up in a poor family. I grew up in the hood where, you know, I saw some dude get shot right outside my house. It's crazy. But anyways, after that, my Taekwondo school was about to close, and my instructor at the time, Ryan Frankie, he was training here at Derby City, and he was telling me, it's like Taekwondo's awesome and everything, but these jiu-jitsu guys, they're throwing me around and choking me like no tomorrow. It's like, you got to come do this stuff. It's like, you know, pretty much fuck Taekwondo. It's like, this is where the real stuff is. And I was like, all right, I'll give it a try. And he showed me how to do a basic guillotine and an arm bar. So that's all I knew on my first day, and I came in here and I hit it on somebody. You know, I don't know if they were letting me or not, but I was like, holy shit. I was like, this is awesome. So ever since that, I've just been in love with it and kept with it ever since. Even when I get bored with it, I just remember when I started, and that's my most memorable moment. It's like why I started.
I got a question. What was your first submission?
My first submission was a guillotine.
Chewy, do you remember what your first submission was in Jiu-Jitsu?
Well, it depends. Like me and my buddies, we used to. So there could be a couple depending on what you want to look at it. I used to train in my basement in some carpet with my buddies. We used to like pick apart moves from videos. We used to beat the shit out of each other. That was that. Or there was a first submission that I had against someone that was not one of my old buddies.
There you go. At the gym.
It was against Robert Halprin. So.
Rob.
Yeah. So
Roberto.
I came back and went to the seminar, and my old instructor, Rob was like the golden boy of the gym. And so Rob, like, he paired us up, you know, because he wanted Rob to beat me up. And roll with Rob, and I want to say that Rob said that he was, like, high or something at the time, because, you know, Rob used to be in some bad stuff back then. I think he said he was on some pills or something. But we were rolling, and I was in turtle position, and there was a fight where Minotauro caught, like, a belly-down armbar from Turtle. And I was just like, there's the arm, and I just jumped for it. So I'm in Turtle. I leaped over to the other side, snagged the arm, and then just got a belly down armbar. And then I remember my coach like instantly turned away. He was pissed off. That was my first like submission that like wasn't against one of my buddies.
I had a triangle choke. I was really proud of it.
Stole my move.
Mike, do you remember your first submission?
I'm way too old. I can't.
Come on, man. What's your go-to? Do you have a favorite submission you like to have?
I used to like leg locks until everybody started learning them. I used to love leg locks, and everyone started learning them. I'm like, this doesn't work the way it used to. Like, you go to tournaments, and I would just leg lock. Then people started catching on. I was like, and then I started getting leg locked. I'm like, oh, the tide has changed.
You know, that's the funny part about it is I remember going to tournaments as a white belt, and like I said, there were no calls on reaping. There were no calls on like heel hooks. No one gave a shit. Like, it was like, heel hook, whatever. Like, don't care. Ankle locks, knee bars. Doesn't matter. White belts can do it. But man, oh man, you put someone in a friggin' neck crank, that was it. It's just so weird how like the taboo moves change.
That's right.
Yeah, I was doing heel hooks at blue belt. I didn't really. I would have cared.
Cheater.
All right,
guys. So, Chewy's website, Jujitsu.net.
if they're here, they know where they're at.
Chad's got a YouTube channel. What is it? Chad Hardy.
Chad the Beast Hardy.
Chad the Beast Hardy. Mr. Jiu-Jitsu.
Don't even follow me.
He's good. He says stuff. JujitsuTherapist.com for me, and this will be up on iTunes tomorrow on the Jiu-Jitsu Therapist Podcast. Thanks, guys, for hanging out. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
See y'all. Nuts.
My legs.
Awesome. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, dude.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you, everybody, for hanging out for the podcast. I appreciate it. Make sure to subscribe and check out Chewy's YouTube channel, Jujitsu, and Chad the Beast Hardy, who's got a great YouTube channel as well that's growing, and Mr. Jiu-Jitsu with tons of his information, insight, and knowledge. And also, if you guys have injury prevention or injury inquiries, check out JujitsuTherapist.com and also my YouTube channel, The Jiu-Jitsu Therapist. Thank you guys for checking out the podcast. We will see you next time.